It's these windows. Hey, y'all, I'm back. I'm sorry about that. This whole trying to do the cross-referencing with Zoom and stuff, it's not easy. And I'm not used to it. I apologize. I'm going to have to find a better way to do this. Because I think I closed out Zoom by mistake. Thinking I'm minimizing the window, but I think I closed it out by mistake. So let me just go in real quick and change the thumbnail again. Yo, do you see what I mean? They already limited my monetization. What did I say? Hold on. This is what I mean about YouTube. What did I say for me to be limited monetization? Did I say anything wrong? Was I even cursing? I think I did say a few curses. Why is my live stream already limited in terms of monetization? This is what I'm talking about with YouTube. I just checked it out. This shit is crazy. I didn't even get into like the subject matter yet. Wow. Okay, YouTube, damn. Wow, I'm just like, I'm just stunned where they just got on me that damn quick. All right, let me, hold on, I gotta set this up. Yeah, I think they got me on the list. They be on my ass. All right, let me put that back up there. I mean, I was talking about Mercury retrograde. What else was I talking about? I was talking about YouTube with the censorship. That's why they limited my monetization. They was like, all right, we hear you, bitch. They was like, take that, take that. We're gonna try this again. Okay, y'all really tripping. Hold on for 1 second. And there's a delay too, I feel like, with it's either my internet service or YouTube or something. Let me save that. Send Simma, pass me the keys to my Beamer. Who am I? And how did I make love to a thriller in a rush? Pass me the keys to my truck. Send Simma. Okay, let me pull the live stream up on YouTube on my phone so I can see what y'all are saying because I'm about to share my screen. Okay. Barrington Levy comes sing. All right, let me close that out. Okay. Now, let me share my screen. Now I see what happened. It was Zoom that sent this thing, was like, this video is live streaming. And I was supposed to click got it, but I clicked leave meeting instead. I guess I was supposed to be like, oh shit, it's live streaming. Okay. Now let me, the messed up thing is this shit is delayed when I see it on my phone. So I can't really, I'm just gonna have to trust and believe y'all. Let me ask y'all now, can y'all see Method Man on the screen? Because, well, now it popped up. Oh yeah, so you can you save your question till after the case study? Just remind me. and I won't have much time, so I got to kind of just limit it to like your question after I do this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like I was saying, it's Capricorn season, and has me, of course, I have a Capricorn moon, Capricorn ascendant. So I have a lot of that Capricorn blood running through my veins. And I was just thinking about, I'll just say this, Kawaii Honey, your sponsorship is bittersweet. I have to admit, it's bittersweet. And it was actually hard for me to do. Now, Kawaii Honey, again, this case study is about Method Man, member of the Wu-Tang Clan. And this case study has been sponsored by Kawaii Honey. And Kawaii Honey has sponsored a number of case studies, including the one on Old Dirty Bastard, who was another Wu-Tang Clan member. And as a lot of y'all know, Wu-Tang Clan is very near and dear to my heart. I even have a Wu-Tang tattoo. And so doing these case studies for Old Dirty Bastard and Method Man has like dredged up a lot of memories. A lot of good memories, but some not so good. So it's been kind of bittersweet doing this. So like when you sent me this, the sponsorship about these two, I was like, oh my God. At first I was excited. I was like, yes. But then as I started to really like just get into looking at their charts and doing the case study and stuff, like all these different emotions started to come back up. So I'm not trying to make this case study about me, but I can't help but to add some of my personal experience to this, because again, I was a Wu-Tang fanatic, and it was just, I was like so much part of that movement, because it was like Wu-Tang came on the scene and it became a movement. Some of you younger folks may not understand the impact that Wu-Tang Clan had upon the world back in the 90s, even in, the early 2000s. So this is a really special case study for me. Old Dirty Bastard was special, but this one is even more special, but I'll get more into that in a minute. So Kawaii wants to know. So you said the same question as for, I think you misplaced that. ODB case study, what aspects in his chart makes him stand out from the other clan members? And he definitely stands out. You said, was it his destiny to be in the Wu-Tang Clan with the North Node in Aquarius? Most definitely, yes. And you'll see that North Node in Aquarius has benefited him in a lot of ways, but it has also created some issues. You say, can you look into the aspect in his chart, Mars square Pluto? I heard this aspect can make someone violent, but does also mean someone can be exposed to violence. Yes, it can. I always heard him speak about growing up in a rough environment as a child. And then you asked, this is where I was kind of confused by your question. You said, do Mars and Sagittarius produce a person who indulged in voyeurism? I know in your last stream on Sagittarius season, you spoke about being spontaneous. However, I am also inquiring about this because of the interview that I have provided in the form of JPE. Yeah, I saw that interview. I was kind of surprised to see the pictures. So I was cracking up. So this interview, and it's from this magazine, this ghetto hood magazine called Fish and Grits. And it's like, it combines hip hop with porn. And I actually have a slide showing the chick posing with Method Man. So he gave this interview where he was just talking about his sexual style and what turns him on and stuff, and his experiences with sex. And so that's why Kawaii is asking. But I wanted to know, what made you wonder if he's a voyeur? Because I didn't get that reading the interview. All right, so here's his chart. Unfortunately, I don't have his time of birth, but we could still glean a lot of insight and information from what we have. So Method Man was born March 2nd, 1971. That makes him a Pisces. He has his sun and Mercury in Pisces, moon and Saturn in Taurus. He has Venus in Capricorn, Mars in Sagittarius. Jupiter conjoined to Neptune in Sagittarius. He got Pluto in Virgo, Uranus in Libra, and his node, South Node at the 22nd degree of Leo. That 22nd means a lot in terms of some of what he's going through. And that 22nd degree North Node in Aquarius. Chiron and Aries. He's part of that crew. So his numerology with the birth number 2, you know, that's part of him being part of the clan, because 2 is Cancer energy, and Cancer rules clans, it rules families. Very much about wife and family. So a lot of 2 people are very much about their family. And for a man that's a 2, you know, that can make him very much about his wife. Also, that makes him sensitive and personal. So being a Pisces and a 2, that can make him very, very sensitive, and also very sensitive to negative energy that is around him. Also very personal, and you could even say personable. And I can vouch for that. He is a very personable guy. Privacy. So privacy is a major theme with that birth number 2. Also, 2 deals with mother, wife, and women. And his life path number is 23. That breaks down to 5, and 5 is good for being a rapper, being highly favored, well-read, international travel. Now, on his part, the well-read, this is so beautiful how it blends with Pisces. So that 5, actually the 23 is well-read. Combine it with the Pisces energy, he has like thousands of comic books. So reading a lot of comic books makes sense. International travel, and Wu-Tang Clan, with 2 representing the clan and 3 representing the foreign influence with the Asian culture, Chinese martial arts. A lot of women. So Method Man, he was the sex symbol of the clan. All the women was after Method Man. You know, he really don't have as much sex appeal as he used to, but, you know, he was a fine looking dude and women were jocking him. I seen it with my own eyes. Okay, so Sun conjunct Mercury in Pisces. That deals with artistry, fame as a rapper, the eye, white contact lens. So in his I'll Be There For You and Bring the Pain videos, he wore this contact lens that was like white to make it look like his eye was rolled up in his head. And, you know, Pisces deals with like costumes. So that was like part of his costume. Sensitive, compassionate, all that weed. So somebody with Sun conjunct Mercury and Pisces, not everybody, but it can predispose somebody to want to be high often. And think about the How High movie that he starred in. Music and film career, Pisces ruling both. Speaking a cryptic language. This is one of the reasons why I love Wu-Tang so much, because they would speak in this cryptic language. It's basically a lot of mathematics. So for instance, in his song, Mr. Sandman, he would be like, peace to the number 7. Everybody else get the 4, 9, 3, 11. Do y'all know what 4, 9, 3, 11 means? Let's see you, anybody who knows a lot of mathematics. What does 4, 9, 3, 11 mean? Peace to the number 7. Everybody else get the 4, 9, 3, 11. Scripper Astrology said he has way more sex appeal now, but I know you said you like guys with a little rough mouth look, and back then he was rough, yeah. Anybody know what 4, 9, 3, 11 is? And see, back then I was up on the 5%. Yeah, Kauai I was up on the 5%, 5%ers, the Nation of Gods and Earths, that's what they're called. And they spoke a lot of mathematics, and I learned how to speak it too. So 4, 9, 3, 11 means dick. Everybody else can get the dick, basically. So 4, 9, 3, 11, that's just the letters of the alphabet. 4 being D, 9 being I, 3 being C, and 11 being K. It's as simple as that. But a lot of people didn't catch on to that when Wu-Tang would be throwing shit out there like that. But that's one of the reasons why I love Wu-Tang so much. They weren't just your average rap group. So this is also dealing with him speaking that a lot of mathematics as well. And this part where he says, like, you know, I'll be there for you. I could be your Noah, you could be my Wiz. And then he said, why can't I? Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank. And I could be your Noah, you could be my Wiz. Resurrect the God through birth. That's very a lot of mathematics too. Calling your woman wisdom. Also, wait a minute, you're all that I need. I'll be there for you. If you keep it real with me, I keep it real with you. Loving your whole steez, you be in there, boo. On top of that, you got the good power you. Power you means pussy. So again, they would use this code, this Allah mathematics slang. And basically that's how they would, say certain things. So if you weren't up on it, you wouldn't understand really some of what they were saying. So that shit was dope like that. So Mercury parallel Urania is basically him speaking that Allah mathematics, because Urania could deal with specialized knowledge. Yeah, you could be the son, I could be the earth, resurrect the God through birth. Yes, and I could be your son, you could be my earth, resurrect the God through birth, best believe. You're all that I need, I'll be there for you. Yeah, exactly. If you keep it real with me, I keep it real with you. Loving your whole steez, it be in there, boo. On top of that, you got the good power you. Now, fluidity in terms of his body movements. If you want an idea what I'm talking about, look at the Bring the Pain video. And there's actually somebody in the comment section of that video mentioned it. So if you look at that Bring the Pain video, look at how Method Man is dancing. And that's so Pisces influence. And this person commented, he moves the same way he flows, smooth. I miss this era of hip hop. Yeah, I miss it too. But yes, that's very much dealing with that Pisces energy, that fluidity in terms of his movement. And again, Method Man is a comic book fan. Comics are ruled by Pisces. And he has a vast collection of around 30,000 comics, which again applies to that life path number 23, where he's well read, including Hulk 181, which features the first full appearance of Wolverine. So here he is with the moon in Taurus. Now, Taurus rules methods. So that's basically representing method man. And Taurus can produce someone that's suave, sensual, down to earth, good food, drink, distinctive voice. Taurus rules the voice. So, Method Man had that distinctive voice. RZA does too, but, Method Man's voice was more pleasing to the ladies. Very protective over wife and family with that moon in Taurus. Family values is moon in Taurus. Music and cream. Cash rules everything around me. Cream get the money. Dollar bill, y'all. I grew up on the South Side in New York, Taj Side. Staying alive was no job. Had second hand. Mom bounced on old man. So then we moved to Shaolin Land. A young youth. You're rocking the gold tooth, low goose. Only way I began to G off was drug loot. And let's start it like this one. Rolling with this one and that one. Pulling out gas for fun. Yes, cream. That's that moon in Taurus. Okay. Here he is in the All I Need video. I'll be there for you. Again, moon conjunct Saturn in Taurus. So this is dealing with his gruff, recognizable voice. Wife who holds it down, his earth. So again, in the nation of gods and earths, they refer to their women as earth. Keep that in mind because I got a story about this in a minute. I'm already getting a little fired up, like, oh my God, okay. Wife who holds it down, his earth, shrewd businessman, great work ethic, always shows up or tries to show up, preserving through adversity, feeding his family takes priority, the toothbrush in his mouth in the Method Man video. So, Taurus can produce an oral fixation. So I was looking at that toothbrush in his mouth in the Method Man video. I was like, yeah, that's that moon conjunct Saturn in Taurus, with Saturn representing teeth, Taurus being the mouth and the tongue and that oral fixation. So I was like, yeah, that's that. Here he is on the cover of Essence. It's a digital cover. It says, this man means business. And this is dealing with his moon trine Venus in Capricorn. Good business decision. Fiscal responsibility. Can tap into the well of nostalgia. So that was one of the things I loved about Wu-Tang too, because they was always touching you in that nostalgic part of your heart. They would be bringing up shit from like your childhood, like some of the TV shows you used to watch, some of the music and stuff. Shows and proves. So somebody like this is going to show and prove, especially with that Taurus moon. A good provider, practical and sensible, dependable, reliable. Mind you, right now I'm talking about all the good stuff about Method Man. I'm pointing and I'm answering Kauai's question with some of these about why he stood out and why he's more successful than the others. Stacking chips. People love his distinctive voice. Oh my God, Lord Jesus, help me. Oh, it just got hot in here. Okay. As you know, the one in front, that's my man, RZA. Oh my God, Lord have mercy. And RZA and Method Man are very close even to this day. Lord have mercy. Okay, let me get myself together. Like I said, this case study was not easy to do because it dredged up some emotions, some memories, and y'all don't understand how deep this shit is, like with me. You don't understand how monumental this time in my life was. Like, and we're talking about 96, 97. Oh, geez, look at the RZA. Okay. So Moon, trine Venus in Capricorn, commands respect, gets along well with others. Oh, don't even get me started, Queen Dara D. I told RZA that he was going to score movies one day. When I met him, he didn't believe that he had it. He was so good that he could score movies. And I told him that's what he was built for. And sure enough, look, y'all don't understand how I inspired them in some ways. I'm not trying to toot my own horn. I'm not like just saying, I'm not like just saying stuff to try to get clout or nothing. It's fucking true. So when I tell you, I told RZA that he was going to score movies before he started scoring them, and he didn't believe that he had that potential at the time. Okay, I'm going to get into it in a minute. Lord, because again, you don't understand how deep this shit is. Okay, ease in attracting women, a stable, loyal, and dependable wife, receiving awards. I'm getting... my anxiety is up. Could own rental property, could own a restaurant at some point. Okay, the interesting thing about this moon and Saturn that Method Man has, my Taurus South Node fits between that Saturn and the moon. So more about that in a minute. And you know, I'm a Sagittarius. Method Man has Mars in Sagittarius. Oh my fucking God, I just noticed something. Oh my God, I think I'm gonna have an anxiety attack. This makes so much sense. I can't believe I didn't notice this before, but Method Man's South Node is right on my 8th house cusp. That makes so much sense. Oh my God, that makes so much fucking sense. You don't understand, Kauai, honey. I had to come to terms and do some soul searching lately, and this is because of this fucking case study that you got me doing. You don't understand. His South Node is at the 22nd degree of Leo. My 8th house cusp is at the 22nd degree of Leo. When I tell you this story, it's going to make so much sense, y'all. Oh my fucking God, this is crazy. All right. Let me regroup. Let me calm down. All right. So Venus in Capricorn trine Pluto, artistic collaborations, royalties, licensing deals, voice gains prominence, influential in Black music, maybe a vegan or vegetarian at some point, and that could be due to the RZA's influence, a wife who's very supportive and she could be his personal assistant, a wife who recovers from a disease. Here he is in his latter days, and that's when he start playing a role in power. So he got Mars in Sagittarius, trine Leo South Node, going solo. The underlying reason why he stood out amongst the others in the clan, displays confidence and bravado, a great performer, but also a promoter. Rapid growth as a celebrity, going beyond the rap game, becoming an actor, being funny, being casted in funny roles. I put fully roles, I meant to put funny, sorry about that. Sex symbol, worldwide appeal. Jupiter and Neptune in Sagittarius trine Chiron and Aries. So he took his stage name Method Man from the 1979 film Method Man, which is the epitome of this trine right here. His name becomes world-renowned, ability to travel all over the world on a moment's notice. In 1996, Smith won a Grammy Award. His name is Clifford Smith. In 1996, Smith won a Grammy Award for Best Rap Performance by a Duo or Group for I'll Be There For You, You're All I Need to Get By, featuring American R&B singer Mary J. Blige, whom he currently stars with in Power Book 2, Ghost, a spinoff of its original show. Method Man is the first of the Wu-Tang Clan to produce a series of eponymous graphic novels for Hachette Book Group, USA's imprint Grand Central Publishing, to be followed by GZA and Ghostface Killah. In February 2021, Method Man began hosting Marvel Method, a podcast series for Marvel Entertainment and SiriusXM. The podcast features interviews with celebrity guests discussing Marvel comics, music, and culture. So all of that is pertaining to this trine right here. Now let's get into some of his challenging aspects. So Sun in Pisces, quincunx Uranus in Libra. His attempts to keep his marriage intact requires him to be secretive. An associate outs his secrets. So that could be Corinne Steffens, Superhead, Wendy Williams. More about them in a minute. Can represent the times when he could not be with the clan due to other artistic projects. And this happened to him last year when Wu-Tang had their reunion tour and Method Man was in South America shooting a film. And some of the fans were saying, yo, that's fucked up that Method Man ain't with them. And then Method Man came out with a statement on social media. And he was like, he was basically talking that moon conjunct Saturn and Taurus, talking about, look, I got to feed my family. And he was like, I want to be with the, he was basically mad that people were trying to say he wasn't loyal or whatever. Now, the film project that took priority over the Wu-Tang reunion concert, but then he ended up showing up. So he did end up showing up for some of the tour. He may not want to do a lot of things his wife wants to do. Attempts to get out certain contracts, like the TV series he was part of with Redman, and that didn't work out. Realizing that he can't trust or rely on some of his friends. So here's Method Man against Wendy Williams, and this is where the biggest scandal in Method Man's life basically was. That and the one with Superhead. But I'll get into the whole situation with Wendy and Method Man in a minute. This shit's deep, y'all. It's scandalo, y'all. I was even like, yo, because I didn't even know this little tidbit. I knew that Wendy Williams had basically publicized private information about Method Man's wife being sick, but I didn't know about this other bit of information that Wendy had shared. And I was just like, yo, more about that in a minute. Now, his Sun and Mercury are squaring Jupiter and Neptune in Sagittarius. Now, it's hard for him being away from his kids when he has to be on the road, concert tours and films, basically. Also, this could produce addictive tendencies. Alcohol and drug use could get out of hand, tendency towards excess. Secrets are outed, can easily get sucked into the madness surrounding him. Issues with maintaining boundaries. Conflicted about spirituality and the truth at times, perhaps. Also with this square, it says on May 17, 2007, Method Man was arrested in New York City for marijuana possession. His SUV was pulled over near the Battery Tunnel toll booths for having an expired inspection sticker. An unidentified source said, it was like something out of Cheech and Chong. He rolls down the window and the smoke would choke a horse. The arresting officer noticed 2 blunts in a plastic bag containing marijuana in plain view. Upon further inspection, more marijuana was found under the driver's seat. Method Man was charged with unlawful possession of marijuana, criminal possession of marijuana, DWI, and driving an uninspected motor vehicle. He reached a plea agreement to perform community service, including rapping to children about the dangers of drugs. That damn South Node at the 22nd degree of Leo. Oh my God. Again, it makes so much fucking sense. As well as his Saturn being conjoined to my South Node. That makes so much fucking sense too. Sun semi-square Venus in Capricorn. His business affairs sometimes, and his Venus is in my first house, which makes a lot of sense. His business affairs sometimes conflicts with his sympathetic and compassionate nature, keeping secrets from his wife. Can be neglectful of his wife's needs at times, especially in terms of birthdays, anniversaries, perhaps, and it could be because he's on the road traveling. Can make him vulnerable to opportunistic women. Oh my God, Lord Jesus. I feel like I apply to that part. Okay, can make him vulnerable to opportunistic women. Possibility of a strained relationship with one of his children over money. Okay, Method Man's telling me I need to tell the truth. I'm gonna have to tell the truth about some things. Okay. T-square, so he got a T-square involving his moon and Saturn square his nodes. So square his Leo South node and his Aquarius North node. This T-square is responsible for a lot of the issues he's gotten into. The price of fame with that Leo South node. So if you become famous and you have a Leo South node, you might succumb to the price of fame, or, you know, just fame gets in the way of other areas of life, and in particular his family, because the moon is squaring that Leo South node. Upset over the attention his wife received about her illness, resulting in beef with Wendy Williams. Being a leader comes with accusations of favoritism from other clan members, could run into money problems, could have a problem child or a child out of wedlock. Now he has another aspect, an asteroid that deals with where he could have a child out of wedlock. So I had mentioned that. Then when I did research, I found out that there's a high chance he does have a child out of wedlock. Twins, mind you. Method Man has been getting around, let me tell you. But, you know, these entertainers, that's how they roll. It's very hard for them to maintain monogamy. Want to earn his key. And, you know, being a Pisces men, a lot of times they're weak for women. Want to earn his keep. Oh, I was talking about a child may not want to earn his keep. That was what I was talking about. All right, more about this T-square. The fame interferes with his private life, such as this. In 2006, Method Man had a personal and publicized conflict with TV talk show host Wendy Williams on The Breakdown, an internet show on onlog.com or onlook.com. Williams talked on air about Method Man's wife having cancer, which was something he wanted to keep private, and her own family members had not yet known about. He said that people who lived next door to him did not know, but Williams had dug it up and made it public over the radio. Because of this leaked information, Method Man and his wife had many problems. Williams also reported rumors that Method Man had been having an affair with his wife's doctor. Method Man first heard of this while in recording sessions in Los Angeles. Now this part, that shit is deep, because when I looked at his chart, I was like, but more about that in a minute. Now his expression right here to me is very moon conjunct Saturn and Taurus squaring Leo South node. You know, it's like his heart has been hardened due to how people have treated him, due to what he has seen, what he has experienced and stuff like that. But he's really a sweet guy. He's a very nice guy. I gotta give him that. Separating, so the T-square is also separating from the group to make money from other projects. His high value sets him apart from the group. So that moon conjunct Taurus is producing high value in him. He's a high value man, you could say. Method Man appeared in the documentary entitled The Show. There is a scene in which Method Man on a train in Japan gets into an argument with You God and Ghostface Killer over camera time, radio interviews, and clothing mishap. You know what? You God was the only clan member that I really didn't care for. And it was only when I met him, because he had a funky ass attitude. And You God always got a funky ass attitude. He mad because he weird looking. He a little funny looking dude. Kind of looked like an elf. And he just mad because he didn't have, his skills weren't up to par like Method Man or Ghostface Killer or Raekwon or the Jizza or RZA. Accusations of disloyalty, does what's best for his own family. Oh, and let me stop before I let y'all, I'll wait till I get to the part. Voice sets him apart from the group. So about the voice setting him apart from the group, you'll see in comments on Method Man's videos where people will talk about this, like this person right here. Sounds of his voice always stood out above, and that's so true. So with that moon conjunct Saturn squaring that Aquarius North Node in particular, that's where that voice sets him apart from the group. Oh, it makes sense then, Golden Owl. And you know, he was called the Golden Arms. I thought he was a Scorpio though. Maybe because he was such a hater. Yeah, Mrs. Matthews, I thought he was a Scorpio too. But Golden Owl saying he's a, yeah, I thought he was a Scorpio. Yeah, that's what I thought. And that would explain why he's such a hater. So with this T-square, he could have been separated from his wife at some point in the past, or it could occur in the future. And that article did say that the issue with Wendy Williams did cause problems in his marriage, having to be apart from his wife and family due to him having to get that paper. His friendships and associations interfere with his ability to be loyal to his wife. Superhead Corinne Steffens upsetting his wife with her tell-all book. Unstable income. And that can just come with the nature of his work. You know, sometimes when he's working, he's making a lot of money, and then there could be months that go by where he's home and he's not working on any film or music projects. Thank you for your super chat, Josie. I'll get to your question after I do this case study. So it says, aside from the financial issues, Method Man was unhappy with the decision to bring Wu-Tang into the fashion world for a brief period of time with Wu Wear. When the Wu Wear store opened up in Philly, I was the first one there. Like, they were auditioning for like customer service reps in the Wu-Tang Wu Wear store. I was the first one in line. I didn't get the job though. They probably was like, this bitch is crazy. Now, aside from, but it wasn't Wu-Tang interviewing us. It was just the store manager. Aside from the financial issues, Method Man was unhappy with the decision to bring Wu-Tang into the fashion world for a brief period of time with Wu Wear, despite the brand being a major moneymaker for the group. When Wu Wear started making shoes and sneakers and pants, it was shoddy material. I never rocked that shit. So that moon conjunct Saturn and Taurus can make Method Man very much about quality. Yep, it sure was. So here Method Man is with his wife, Tamika. And Tamika was pissed off when Wendy Williams spilled her tea, telling everybody that she had cancer, and nobody was supposed to know. Not even her family members knew she had cancer at the time. So Wendy Williams ain't shit for that. So this is from another blogger. Another blogger, Farrah Gray, recently posted an online article that featured a picture of Method Man's wife, Tamika, who prefers to stay out of the limelight. The post title leading reads, "We finally have a photo of Method Man's wife." After the blog post was uploaded, Method Man asked Gray to take the post down in the name of decency. Decency, that's Taurus. Initially, the blogger refused to do so, but after further prompting, they eventually took it down. The picture, however, still exists online. After the post and online argument, Method Man tweeted in a now deleted post that he would be leaving social media until further notice. So that's dealing with this T-square as well. Him leaving social media, that's his moon, and Saturn and Taurus squaring that Aquarius North Node. So let me just get into this article real quick because, hold on, I gotta stop share. It's crazy, like Method Man's wife really came for Wendy. Hold on, let me pull it up. So it says, watch out, Wendy. Method Man's wife slammed sick Wendy Williams as a circus freak and bitch after host claimed she hooked up with rapper. Yo, this shit is scandalous right here. Method Man's wife, Tamika Smith, called out Wendy Williams on social media, bashing her as a sick ass circus freak and a bitch. Tamika's lengthy Instagram rant followed the daytime talk show host's recent claim she shared a one-night stand with the rapper. When I read that, I wanted to throw up. According to the Baller Alert, Tamika posted a statement in her Instagram stories reading, "For years, I kept my silence, while Wendy Williams launched constant verbal attacks against my husband, myself, and my family. In the past, I ignored her lies, innuendos, and blatant attempts to provoke us. But Wendy has proven again and again that she is incapable of any decency. Her obsession with our lives has reached a new low." You see how Wendy Williams is now. I'm sure a lot of people have cursed Wendy Williams for Wendy Williams being so low down. And Wendy Williams does have a Capricorn South Node, which means she got heavy karma. And you see how bad shape she is. She lost her show, everything. So Method Man's wife goes on to say, "Despite my anger, I chose not to respond publicly to her unhealthy fixation with my husband and our marriage. It was clear that she was sick and that she was struggling with a lot of issues, including self-hate and low self-esteem." Tamika continued, "In an obvious attempt to increase ratings for her and biopics, her struggling TV show, and her burnt out career." And Tamika is telling no lies, because Wendy Williams got something in Virgo. It's her Pluto in Virgo and something else opposing Method Man's Sun in Mercury. And that is her basically just trying to create a scandal about Method Man, whether it's true or not, just to get her ratings up. Tamika continued, "In an obvious attempt to increase ratings for her and biopics, her struggling TV show, and her burnt out career, Wendy has once again targeted my husband. It's a pattern that has repeated itself for years." That's her right there. Pretty lady. "When I was diagnosed with my cancer years ago, Wendy shared my personal medical information with her listeners live on the air during her radio broadcast. She didn't care that she was violating my right to privacy, or that I hadn't shared the news of my diagnosis with my family and friends. She never apologized, never expressed any regret whatsoever." Tamika continued, putting Wendy on blast, sharing, "Her career is on life support. Her husband abandoned her, and her ratings for all her projects are down. She is desperate for attention and is trying to use my husband's popularity as a way to get her name trending." How sad that a woman who was once revered in the entertainment industry has reduced herself to a tabloid side note and circus freak. "For the record, my marriage is solid." That's that moon conjunct Saturn in Method Man turn. "My husband continues to enjoy a successful career, and Wendy will forever be the most miserable bitches on the planet. One of the most miserable bitches on the planet. Over the years, those issues have made her increasingly ugly, both inside and out. And no, the amount of plastic surgery can fix the ugliness inside her. Instead of using a platform to uplift women, she has spent her career attacking marriages while her own fell apart." Preach. "She criticizes celebrities battling addiction despite her own struggles with substance abuse. There's no limit on how low she will go in the name of making headlines." She read her for filth. During an interview last week with DJ Sus One, Wendy, who has been open about her past drug abuse, said she once took the Wu-Tang Clan member home to her penthouse. Of course, Method Man had to be drunk for this to happen. Wendy said of her night with the rapper, "I smoked a blunt with Method Man, and while I gave him a bath," she gave him a bath. That is so fucking Pisces. That's how I know this shit is true. It was a one night stand. Now, from what Method Man says, Method Man just said that Wendy Williams sucked him off and that he never had sex with her. And I believe Method Man. And I believe that she got him in a vulnerable position. He was high and drunk, and they were shooting at the club, and she basically rushed him out of there. And I was just like, wow. Now, she added that the story wouldn't be included in her film, Wendy Williams, the movie, stating it wasn't in the biopic because Method Man is still very angry at me. I don't know why, for being me, for telling the truth. Now, I think she wanted some of that dick, right? She wanted some of that 49311, but Method Man wasn't trying to give her none, but he did let her suck his dick, which is so, I ain't gonna, you said it, Red Bunny. And, you know, Pisces men, they can, you know, get full or they can be into that or whatever. Not saying that that's what Method Man knew, like that's what he did or whatever. But I think, I mean, Method Man admitted, he was like, as a matter of fact, he was like, I know Wendy from back in the day. She used to suck me and my mans off at times. I'm not giving him too much grace. No, you don't get what I'm saying. I'm saying I think he did have a sexual encounter with her, but I think all he did was get his dick sucked. And that's why I think Wendy is mad, because Wendy really wanted Method Man. And when she probably called Meth up later, he was like, all right, Wendy, whatever. She was probably mad that Meth didn't want to, you know, continue this tryst with her. That's what I'm saying. And then now she's out to get him. Now, Wendy shared their night followed a fight breaking out in a club. She explained, it was one night we were in a club when a fight broke out and gunshots broke out. The fight was ridiculous. The whole Wu-Tang Clan was there, but it was only Meth up in the rafters. Wendy and Method Man, whose name is Clifford Smith Jr., then left the club hand in hand. She recalled, he rolled a blunt, we smoked a blunt, we watched the fight, we heard the gunshots, the cops came in. Wendy continued, people didn't even realize at the time it was Wendy, one of the biggest stars, the leader of the biggest group in the world, just left, got in her Pathfinder and went back to her penthouse in Jersey City, where she bathed him in her jacuzzi tub and smoked more weed. You know, that was back in the Coke days. I don't remember what he did. I'm not going to implicate him on that. Last week, Wendy also wore her engagement ring from her ex-husband, Kevin Hunter. She shared, every diamond is gutted out, and I thought I would wear it for a funny, ha-ha. Kevin and Wendy married in 1997 and have a 20-year-old son, Kevin Jr. The son reached out for comment from both Wendy Williams and Method Man, and I guess there was no comment. All right, back to the slideshow. You want me to do a reading on Kanye? I done talked about that man so much. I would, you know what I said the other day, and it was my Capricorn side coming out. I was like, damn, I'm rough. I was like, somebody need to shut Kanye up for good. But you didn't hear that from me. That man's ego is out of control. Okay, so again, with the T-square, Method Man has denied all the accusations of cheating, which is a lie. You know, Pisces is prone to lie. He has cheated and instead accuses Williams of lying in order to put his wife's cancer diagnosis out in the public. Method Man has said that at the time, his wife wanted to keep her diagnosis a secret. Method Man had the following to say about Williams. She told me and the doctor was fucking. What kind of shit is that, man? Oh, what kind of shit is that, man? You don't do that to anyone. You don't say the shit you want to say about me. Don't say anything about my family. Oh, I'm sorry. You say the shit you want to say about me. Don't say anything about my family, man. You're going to attack me any way you like. I'm in the entertainment business, but you don't attack my family. That's the epitome of that T-square, especially Moon, Saturn square, and that Leo South Node. My wife, it's bad enough that she didn't have a hair on her head. You think she wants people to look at her, point her out, and talk to her about how sick she is? No one knew anything until Wendy Williams said it was crap. So Moon quincunx Mars in Sagittarius. The moon could be in quincunx with Mars. I don't know the exact degree his moon is at, but this would make sense. Much time spent away from home due to travel demands. Challenges with being loyal to his wife due to free-spirited nature of Mars and Sagittarius. And you know, when you got Mars and Sagittarius, that's the epitome of being on the road a lot. So that's showing, you know, when he's on the road, he becomes this free-spirited individual, and it's hard for him to maintain that loyalty to his wife. Free-willing and generous nature could be a drain on his finances. Challenges with conforming could rupture his vocal cords at some point, putting a lot of strain on his vocal cords. Now, Venus in Capricorn, quincunx, Leo South Node. Fame and egocentric desires gets in the way of his ability to be loyal in a relationship, puts him at risk for getting caught up in a bad investment, may not know when to pull out, being around people who are bitter about his rise to stardom. In 2004, Method Man starred in a Fox sitcom called Method and Red. However, after only a short time on the air, the show was put on hiatus and never returned. Method Man later spoke to the press about Fox's influence on the show's style, saying that there's been too much compromise on our side and not enough on their side, and that quincunx can require you to make compromises. And criticizing the network's decision to add a laugh track. Before the show premiered, he was telling fans not to bother watching it. He told the Los Angeles Times, "This is frustrating for me. I'm trying to keep this show ghetto, and there's a way for it to be both ghetto and intelligent, but it's not going that way." So here's that Mars square Pluto aspect, Kauai, that you were asking about. So he has Mars in Sagittarius square Pluto in Virgo. Tries to get out of certain work-related obligations, maybe because it conflicts with his vision or his aspirations, his ethics. Facing temptations, i.e. sex when on the road. Witnessing some foul shit that fucks with his moral compass. Now, remember you asked, with Mars square Pluto, can that mean that you were a witness to like crime and like shootings and just the rough upbringing? So that Mars square Pluto has a lot to do with it. It can also mean that he has seen some real low down shit go down and that he could be surrounded by haters as well. Being around snakes. Some of his music was dark and dank, dirty and gritty, especially his first album, To Cal. The song To Cal, What the Blood Clot. That's another song, Sub Crazy, Mr. Sandman, I Get My Thing in Action. And a lot of it did have to do with RZA's production, but it was like real dark. Both, I know RZA was smoking dust back then. I don't know if Method Man was, but like in What the Blood Clot at the end, RZA be like, "I got mad bags of dust." So you can definitely hear the dust influence on that To Cal album. And that's very much dealing with his Mars square Pluto in Virgo, where he was basically showing more of that dark side of him. To Cal, To Cal, To Cal. Jealous people, haters, like I said. Also, this can cause him to have a mutable persona. And he did admit to getting the crabs in that interview he did with the porn star. Possibility of liver disease at some point, and it could be due to a life of excess. But it doesn't mean he's definitely going to get it, but the possibility is there. Also with Mars square Pluto, it says on October 5th, 2009, Method Man was arrested at his home in Staten Island for income tax violations. He was accused of failing to file income tax returns for the state of New York between 2004 and 2007 and owes nearly $33,000 in taxes. On June 28th, 2010, Method Man pleaded guilty to tax evasion and was sentenced to a conditional discharge and paid $106,000 fine. In 2003, Method Man criticized Ollie Power Grant and Mitchell Devine Diggs, the managers of the Wu-Tang Clan business. Number one on my shit list right now is Devine from Wu-Tang Management. He took something major from me that he had no intention of giving back. So here he is on the cover of that Fish and Grits magazine with the porn star. And this is dealing with his Chiron opposition Lilith. And this Chiron opposition Lilith is also responsible for him being with Superhead, Corinne Steffens. She referred to him as Big Papa in her first book. And at first, a lot of people were trying to figure out who Big Papa was and all this type of stuff. But this Chiron opposition Lilith can make it very hard for him to remain true to his wife. And again, a lot of men in the entertainment industry, a lot of wealthy men have this issue. So it just goes with the territory, but it's showing up in his chart pretty keenly. And it makes sense because of Corinne Steffens and also the Wendy Williams situation. And then also I later found out that he has illegitimate children that he had while he was married. Now, I don't think he ever confirmed that, but I wouldn't be surprised because of what he has in his chart. So can be representative of Corinne Steffens, aka Superhead, can be representative of his sexual encounters outside his marriage in general. He has Uranus opposition Hera. So there's a high chance of infidelity, betrayal. Oh, my bad. I knew I was gonna mess something up. Hold on, let me fix that. That's from the last one. Hold on. But that Hera is basically pointing to his wife finding out about these trips. But also it could deal with Wendy Williams again, because Hera could deal with being vindictive. Hold on. All right, let me bring it back. So I go over stuff, but I was breezing through it when I was trying to proofread this shit. All right, so I'm back. So wife finding out about Tris, and that can also deal with a woman takes revenge upon him, a woman he's associated with, and that could have been Wendy Williams again. Jupiter opposition Jupiter. Wait a minute, I was rushing. So he got Jupiter opposition Juno, which can deal with him cheating while on the road. So let me add that in there. And his wife probably put up with it. She probably just put up with it. Let me reshare. She probably would just put up with it like a lot of wives of entertainers do until that shit comes to her front door, and now it's a problem. But a lot of these wives know what their husbands are doing while they're on the road. So here's Corinne Steffens, Superhead. And she was referring to like one of the loves of her life, I guess. She was referring to Big Papa, and then later on she revealed that Big Papa was in fact Method Man. So this is dealing with Chiron opposition Lilith as well. Now, Corinne Steffens, Superhead, in an article she did mention, for those who don't read, Papa's identity was revealed in the Vixen Diaries in 2007. This is stale tea. The purpose of this post is to give my real readers and fans a private look into how I made this heartbreaking decision. So basically, she was saying that her publisher was threatening to pull her book deal if she wasn't going to reveal who Big Papa was. So she was saying that she revealed who he was, but she really didn't want to do it because she knew he had a family and a wife and all that stuff, but she felt forced to because, you know, and her, wait a minute, is her son conjoined to his Pluto? Because, you know, she's a Virgo and he got Pluto in Virgo. I think her son is, I think it is a tight conjunction, but I don't got time to get into their synastry and stuff. But again, here's a picture of Method Man. His wife is on the left, Wendy's on the right. So again, Chiron opposition Lilith, but also Moon and Saturn squaring the nodes. So in the show, we learned from Wendy Williams that while she was still on the radio in New York City, Method Man slept with her and even confessed to her that he had been sleeping with his wife's doctor as well. Both the affairs are alleged to have happened in 2006. The additional accusation of cheating apparently came to light in the bedroom during some pillow talk with Williams. Method Man is said to have confessed to her that he had been sleeping with his wife's doctor, who was the primary physician in his wife's breast cancer treatment. You know, Pisces can be real sneaky and sleazy like that. So I wouldn't put it past him, especially when I show you all this aspect in his chart. Now, in the past, Method Man has accused Williams of being a groupie, saying that she topped off, gave oral sex to him and other friends from his neighborhood. Take this how you will, but that might suggest some truth to Wendy Williams' accusations. Now, Method Man has Chiron trine Jupiter and Neptune, and that could actually deal with he had a secret affair with a doctor. So I'm not discrediting Wendy Williams with that assertion, with that claim, because that's showing up in his chart. So I wouldn't be surprised. And again, Method Man, he's a nice guy. I met him. I saw him on 2 occasions. And each time he was very nice to me, very respectful, cool ass dude. But you know, at the end of the day, he's a man. and a man gonna be a man, especially if a man got money, he got clout, and he got a bunch of bitches all around him. When I tell you women be throwing that shit at him, I'm about to tell y'all this story in a minute. So his North Node is conjoined to Niobe, and this is the aspect where I was like, he could have a child outside of the marriage. So a child out of wedlock. And then when I read about that shit, I was like, there it is. Or this could be a child becomes a severe disappointment, maybe one of his adult children. Another controversial story that may add fuel to Williams' fire is Method Man's alleged relationship with former video vixen Modest Jones. And him being a Pisces, he would have a weakness for video vixens. Jones had known Method Man since the early 90s when Wu-Tang Clan was just starting out. Jones claims that her twins, who were born in 2017, were fathered by Method Man. Since her accusations have been made public, nothing has been verified. Interestingly, though, Method has never denied fathering the children. He has sun opposition Sappho. So this makes me think he could feel vulnerable being around a lot of gay men. And, you know, if you're in the film industry and the music industry, there's a lot of gay men. So I'm sure he gets hit on by women all the time, but I'm sure he gets hit on by men a lot too. So could feel vulnerable being around a lot of gay men, which comes with the music and film industry, could often be pursued or approached by gay men. Going to one of those Diddy parties, maybe he did go to a few of Diddy's parties. You know how Diddy gets down. Being in spaces where women are not allowed. For some reason, this ain't showing out right. So he has Chiron conjoined to the asteroid Toro, and that this can deal with him displaying machismo. He could be hyper masculine in terms of his persona at times and bravado. Chiron contra parallel Pallas. When I saw this, I was like, oh, this is cool. So this is being in fights, but also developing fighting skills, getting his name from the film Method Man, AKA the fearless young boxer, because Pallas deals with fighting and martial arts and defense. An avenging boxer is a 1979 martial arts film directed by Jimmy Shaw, starring Casanova Wong. Jupiter running parallel to Shiva. Shiva can deal with destruction, but it can also deal with where you're trying to shatter a misconception. And that's what he was trying to do with the whole Wendy Williams thing. I don't think he ever publicly came out and made a statement about Superhead, Corinne Steffens. Venus contra parallel Phaethon, being at risk of being burned or possessions being burnt up in a house fire. Sun conjunct Panacea. He could have an herbalist or use certain herbs to cure an ailment due to Taurus influence, but that can also deal with his wife's treatment, cancer treatment, since Saturn is conjoined to the moon. Mercury is conjoined to the fixed star Scat. Good fortune, personal charm, lasting happiness, psychic interest, sensitivity, occult interest, many friends. Mars is conjoined to the star Shala. Danger, desperation, immorality, malevolence, acid, poisons, victory and sieges. That stuff really don't apply. Mesmerism, you know, he did mesmerize some women. I actually, when I first met Method Man, I was mesmerized. I ain't even gonna lie. So he got the mesmerism star in his chart. Spiritual pressure towards enlightenment. Mars conjunct Lissath, danger, desperation, immorality, malevolence. Connected with acids and poisons. Lissath is very much like Shala. Accidents, catastrophes, operations. Jupiter conjunct Marfiq. When I saw this, I was cracking up. Passionate, blindly good-hearted, easily seduced. Now that easily seduced, again, that could deal with Wendy Williams seducing him, but this is where I come in. This is where I come in. So to make the long story short, a lot of you people know that I was like heavily crushing on the RZA when Wu-Tang was hot. And ever since they had came out in like 1993, I made it a point. I was on a quest to meet the RZA. I was like, I'm going to meet him. I even thought I was going to marry him. And this is a story also about my Capricorn, moon, and ascendant versus my Saturn and Leo. And you know, Saturn and Leo is my chart ruler because I'm a Capricorn rising. And when I tell you I allow my Saturn and Leo to fuck up my Capricorn ambition, I fucked it up like royally. And again, to make the long story short, I'll just say, because I was talking about this in my Patreon, I was like, the reason why Leo forms a natural quincunx with Capricorn is because there's no need to compete, which is Leo, when you're already on top. So I was trying to compete, but I was already on top and didn't realize it. So let me just break down what happened. And I'm not going to go into all these details or whatever. So this happened between like a 2-year period from 1996 to 1997. Like, I'll say by 1995, I knew I was getting warm with meeting the RZA. You said, your heart. I know I was getting close with meeting him because people were just coming into my life. Like, I remember I became friends with this guy. He was like A&R for Loud Records. And that's how I met Drew Hill. I met the rapper Raz Kaz. But before that, like, I was Sagittarius. I was such a party girl that I was the type that, would try to go on stage. Like, I don't know if anybody heard of the Alcoholics, but they was like a 90s group back in the day. And I think I told y'all about this, but they had came to Philly and they were performing, and they had some girls come up on stage, and I was one of the girls, and we dancing and stuff. And they invited me and my friends back to the hotel, and that was that and stuff like that. So already I kind of had like a little groupie spirit in me. Like, so when Wu-Tang came on the scene, naturally I was like, I have to meet them, but especially the RZA. When I tell you, when I first saw the RZA on the TV screen, it wasn't even Wu-Tang. It was when he was in Grave Diggers with Nowhere to Run, Nowhere to Hide. It was like time stood still. And it was like I knew him from a past life. And it was just so crazy. And ever since then, I had been nuts over the RZA. So again, make the long story short, fast forward to 1996. Wu-Tang is performing at Gotham nightclub in Philly on Delaware Avenue. Of course, I have to go. I go there, and I'm waiting in line, and I see this guy, and he had a tattoo. He had a Wu-Tang tattoo on his back, and I never saw nobody with a Wu-Tang tattoo before, because again, this was the early Wu-Tang days. And I remember I was like, yo, that's a dope ass tattoo. This is before I got my tattoo. He basically inspired me to get my Wu-Tang tattoo. And we had really clicked. We actually started smashing after that. Like, we had a little fling, me and that dude. And he actually hosted a Philly show. You know how Philly or, cities have public access shows? He would host this public access show at night. I forget what it was called. So he had some clout, and he had a press pass. So when I tell you this is all destiny in the making and how this shit like unfolded. So he had a press pass, and he was like, here, he was like, I could get you in VIP. I got a press pass and all that stuff. And mind you, the reason why I chose that Prince clip in the beginning, see, some of y'all thought I was going to do the case study on Prince. The reason why I had to choose Prince, I had to get my mind off of the RZA. And I love Prince to death too. But not just that, Prince was singing the song Hot Thing. And that was just representing me. I was a little hot thing back in the day. But anyway, so I get into VIP, and all the Wu-Tang members are there except for RZA and Old Dirty Bastard. So I met all of them. I took pictures with them, and I would pull up the pictures if I still had them. But my Virgo ex, the dark-sided Virgo punk ass bitch, ripped the pictures up that I had of me and Ghostface, me and Method Man, me and Inspector Deck. I even had a picture of me and You God with You God acting all funny. I had pictures, and that motherfucker ripped my pictures up because he was such a fucking hater. He wasn't hating because he saw me with these men that, were famous. He was hating because he didn't get a chance to rub elbows with them. I feel like it wasn't even about me. It was about, he was mad because his life wasn't as interesting as mine was. But anyway, I'll never forgive him for that shit. And I hope he's 6 feet under right now. But anyway, like, you don't do something like that. That's just fucked up. But anyway, so I'm in VIP. Once you're in VIP, it's on, because you could go right up to them. You could like smooze with them and stuff. So I remember first, I'm like, I'm talking, I think I was talking to Inspector Deck first. And then I sashayed my way over to Ghostface, because Ghostface was at the bar. Ghostface buys me a drink. me and Ghostface, we chatted it up and stuff like that. And I told Ghostface, I was like, I came here to see the RZA. I was like, where is RZA? And he was like, he couldn't make it and all this stuff. Me and Ghostface, we really hit it off, having so much fun and stuff, just talking and stuff like that. And he was like, yo, you need to come back to the hotel with us and all this stuff. And I was like, oh yeah, I'll probably. And I think I did. I think he told me the room number they were in the hotel he was at, but I can't remember. I was drinking that night. I wasn't drinking heavily though, because I had my wits about me. But anyway, I'm chatting it up with Ghostface. And I look to my right and I see Method Man in the corner drinking a bottle of Moet with these girls just circled around in front of him. I kid you not. It was so weird. I never seen women so stuck on a man like that. Mind you, I'm young at the time. So like all this is like, I never realized, I never saw like in real life, that whole groupie thing and how women will be just like stuck on the star of the group and stuff like that. So when I tell you there was a circle of women, they were all surrounding him. And I see Method Man, his back is against the wall and he drinking a bottle of Moet. That's when my Saturn and Leo kicked in. And this is what I mean about how, because you know, Leo is competition. So I was in competition at that point. I went into straight competition mode. But not realizing that I was already on top and I didn't have nothing, I didn't have to prove myself. But when I tell you I did this totally off of clout and off of competition, because I kid you not, I said in my mind, I was like, these bitches don't even know what the fuck they're doing. So I actually made a beeline to Method Man. They basically kind of parted ways like the Red Sea. And I asked her, I said, can I get a sip of that? Because these bitches didn't have no game and I had game. I'm a Sagittarius. I had game. And I was like, I asked him for a sip of his champagne. And he said, put your head back. And he poured the champagne down my throat. And I was like, oh shit. And that was the first time I tried Moet too. So that was that. And this is what I mean about being easily seduced. Like where it's saying he could be easily seduced with this Jupiter conjunct Mars fig. So already when he did that shit, I knew I got him. I was like, oh yeah, I got his attention now. And then Method Man and some of the other clan members, they posed for a picture. And I get behind them. And this is where it's hard for me to admit, but I groped him. I don't know if I told y'all this before, but I groped him from the back. I just went between his legs and grabbed his nut. And then after he took the picture, he whispered in my ear, he was like, yo, shorty, I like you a lot. And that's when he invited me back to the hotel room. And it was all the Wu-Tang Clan. And I remember when I showed up, they was all in the hotel lobby. And I remember there was this stand that came there, this young dude. And he was like, yo, I'm fucking with y'all niggas. And that's when Ghostface gripped the boy up and, you know, pushed him against the wall. Was like, nah, you ain't coming up with us and all this type of stuff. And that was just a funny thing to see. So I can't discuss all the details, but I will say, so I'm up in our hotel. And so again, we're all chilling. They're real cool dudes. That's what I'm saying. Real cool dudes. Method Man was cool. Ghostface cool. I was talking to Raekwon. I was telling Raekwon like what songs I loved off of his Iron Chef album. I mean, Only Built for Cuban Links album. And yeah, we were just chilling and stuff. And then next thing you know, I look up, like I remember I was sitting on one of the beds and I look up and everybody's gone. And it's just me and Method Man in the room. And Method Man's on the phone and he's talking to, it must have been his girlfriend. I don't think he was married at the time, but I know he was talking to his girlfriend because he was telling her to chill and that he wasn't doing anything and he wasn't cheating and stuff like that. And then I took the opportunity, remember I said that opportunistic women, I took the opportunity to seduce him at that point. And I'm not going to say anything else about it. But then fast forward to 1997, when it's the Wu-Tang concert, and I'm able to get backstage because like I said, I had connections there. And again, this is where I, like, when I tell you I let my Saturn and Leo fuck me up royally, because again, I seduced him because it was mainly off of clout. I wanted something to fucking brag about when I got home. So that was my Saturn and Leo getting in the way of my Capricorn moon and ascendant, because again, I was already on top and didn't realize it until I met the RZA. So I meet the RZA in 1997. I make it backstage because again, back then I had connections like that. And so many different parts to this whole night. So I'm trying to really remember and hurry up and wrap it up. But so I go backstage, concert's over, where I'm walking through this hallway and there's Method Man right there. And he immediately recognizes me and he's like, yo, what's up? And I'm like, hey, what's up and all this stuff. And he was like, yo, how you been? And this is what I mean, like Method Man cool as shit. He thorough as shit, he cool as shit. And he's always showed me respect and stuff like that. So I show him my tattoo. And when he sees my tattoo, he looks shocked. He's so surprised because on my tattoo, it says RZA and it doesn't say Method Man. And then he quickly like shrugs it off and he says, yeah, that's dope, but it ain't better than mine. And he pulls up his sleeve and shows me his tattoo. It was a dope tattoo, but I can't remember exactly what it was. So again, I saw Method Man in the hallway before I even met RZA. So Method Man saw that I was there. He remembered me, everything. And again, when he saw that RZA was on my arm and not Method Man, he felt some type of way. I saw it in his face, especially with him being a Pisces. So anyway, fast forward, I'm on the deck of the stadium thing or wherever the concert was. And that's when I met the RZA. Fast forward, me and the RZA, one of the Wu-Tang members put a bug in RZA's ear because I think it was Master Killer I was talking to. And I was telling him that I was trying to meet RZA, but I was shy. And he was like, yo, just say peace to the God. That's how they talk. He was like, yo, just say peace to the God and, start talking and stuff. And I think he went over and told RZA that I was crushing on him hard. And the next thing I know, RZA gets up and he walks over and sits next to me. And when I tell you, I wanted to just melt into the fucking table that I was sitting on. It was so crazy. And so we're talking a little bit of stuff. And if you ever like met your favorite celebrity or whatever, it really happens where you become speechless. I was speechless. And it was so hard for me to get, like, I remember I would go over like for years, like a few years, like if I meet him, I'm going to tell him this and I'm going to tell him that. And I didn't tell him. And it was like, I was just tongue tied, but I did keep my cool. So make the long story short, he invites me back to the hotel room, gives me a hotel room and stuff. I meet up with some girls because I went to the concert by myself because I was like, none of these bitches going to fuck up my time. But I happened to meet two women that were at the concert and we just hooked up and they were backstage too. So Wu-Tang, like some of the members invited those two girls and RZA invited me. So it was three of us going back to the hotel. And they were like, you want to ride with us? And I was like, yeah, let me ride with y'all. So we go to the hotel. And when I get to the hotel, RZA's in the hotel lobby. And then he invites me up to the hotel. We're in the elevator and stuff. And I remember I was telling him, like, back then I wanted to be an accountant. And he was like, oh, that's cool and stuff it up and everything like that. So we get into his hotel room. And then this is where I saw RZA's Cancerian vulnerability. And this part was it touched my heart and it was kind of sad too. So RZA is sitting on the bed. I'm sitting on a chair, I think. And he says, Meph's in the other room if you want to go in there. Because he was so used to all the chicks going after Meth. And I was like, no, I came here for you. And he was like, word? I was like, yeah. This nigga asked me if I was going to have his baby next year. And me and my dumb self, I said no. Like, I don't know. Again, the Sag in me, I guess I was trying to play it too cool. And I was like, no, I'm not having your baby next year or whatever. I taught him some words. I used the word minuscule and he was like, what's that mean? But anyway, he was really rough around the edges back then. But anyway, so he was in and out of the hotel room doing stuff, getting drinks and stuff. And I remember at one point he's in the hallway a little long. And then next thing you know, those two girls that I was chilling with, they came into the room and they talked. They told me, they was like, yo, they was like, RZA and Method Man are in the hallway talking about you. And this is why I got a beef with Method Man to this fucking day, but it's my fault. I did it to myself again with Saturn and Leo in my 7th. ruling my chart and my Capricorn moon. See, that Capricorn moon in ascendant, I should have known when I meet the RZA, it's going to be on. I don't need to prove myself with Method Man or nothing like that. So anyway, the girls told me, they was like, yo, they out in the hallway talking about you. And they were like, RZA's telling Meth, she Earth, yo, she Earth. So RZA was excited because, again, remember I told you I knew the knowledge, I knew a lot of mathematics and all that. Not only that, when me and RZA was chilling in the hotel room, one of the dudes from the entourage came in and he was like, yo, that's the chick that knew all the lyrics. He was like, that's the chick that was in the front row and she knew all the lyrics. And RZA was like, she knew all the lyrics. He was like, she knew all the lyrics. So that got RZA's heart too. And then when I was just telling him like how, and like, again, we were both into like Chinese mysticism then and all that type of stuff. So anyway, the girls was like, yeah, RZA's telling Method Man that you're Earth, meaning like I was like, you know, wife material. And Method Man was like, nah, she ain't Earth guy. Like he was basically snitching on me. And I was like, so when I found out, of course I didn't mention it. And RZA came back in the room and act like nothing happened. And we basically just had our night together. And, you know, he was playing beats for me and stuff that he had never released. He was playing on his Roland MPC, big ass keyboard, butt ass naked, and just playing songs for me and stuff like that. But again, I blame myself because I did it for clout. I did it to brag, for bragging rights back then. And I know me and RZA, we would have had something if, but then again, when I tell you, I swear he called me after that shit because I had left my number in the hotel room. I had also sent him an Oxford Bible because he loved the Bible. And when I tell you, like one part of the night, he was in the room, he invited me in there with him and the other, some of the entourage and stuff. And he was just spitting knowledge and stuff about the Bible. And I was just sitting there with him. When I tell you a dream come fucking true. And when I tell you about Method Man South Node being on my 8th house cusp and how I call Method Man a cock blocker, like he's straight up cock block. Like, but I still had my night with the RZA and he never let me know what Method Man told him. And when I tell you, I swear RZA had tried to contact me after the fact because of this message that I got on my voicemail that had to do with Love Jones. If you look at RZA's Bobby Digital and Stereo album, I'm the inspiration for the woman with the tattoo on her shoulder. He got a song called Love Jones on the album that I swear I'm inspired by, but he did have a chick at the time. But again, these dudes be cheating or whatever. But I say all that to say, that's why it was hard for me to do this case study because I'm personally involved in this shit, not on a high level, but the memories were coming back. And when I tell you I failed big time, like I took a major L, just because of my ego got in the way. And I'm telling y'all all this just to show y'all a lesson about how Leo energy can get you fucked up. And you know, Leo deals with celebrities. And my Saturn is in Leo in the 7th house. So yeah, and there's so much more to the story, but I won't even get into it. But yeah, but it makes sense with Method Man being a Pisces and how like he was the one who, but again, I did it to myself. Like when I look back, I'm like, how could I be so stupid? But you can be really blinded by the light, that celebrity type of light. And again, if these girls wasn't on his jock, I don't think I would have never even approached Method Man like that because again, that Saturn and Leo competitive streak, it came out and I was like, fuck this. I'm gonna show these bitches how to do it. Because I had that type of attitude back then. And I was kind of like I have to admit, all my life, I've been kind of like an oddball. But I've always been told like I tested gifted and talented when I was in 2 schools when I was a young kid. So I've always known that I was meant for something greater. So when situations like that would happen, hell yeah, I would want to be front and center because I'm like, I belong here. This is where I'm supposed to be. I'm supposed to be doing this and all this type of stuff. But that's my story. And again, that's why it was hard for me to do this case study because all these memories started pouring in about that time in my life. And especially the fact that I fucked it up. But then looking back, I think if me and the RZA would have got something going, I think I probably hate his guts today because I probably just be one of his baby mamas. And that's not what I want. You know what I mean? I didn't want that type of, because remember, he's a Cancer dude. And that was one of the first things he asked me. He was like, he did say he loved my thick ass thighs. One of the things he asked me was, are you going to have my baby next year? So he was trying to put a baby in me, but not necessarily marry me. So I'm kind of glad things didn't work out like that between me and him, because I like to keep it where I still like him and I don't hate him. And if I would have had his child, I definitely would have hated him. All right, moving along. Sorry to be so long-winded. I got to hurry up and wrap it up because I got to teach a class. Saturn parallel Algeneve, and I'm gonna have to send my student the hold on. Saturn is running parallel to Algeneve. This can produce ambition, vanity, intuition, enthusiasm, and bad judgment. I can't believe I just came clean and told y'all this story, but it feels liberating to be able to tell the story, because this is something that I've been kind of struggling with. Scavenging, destructiveness, repulsiveness, malevolence, fiendishness, lying, suicide, greed, injuries, Neptune conjunct Teshuva, sudden assaults, malevolence, immorality, and shamelessness, mass catastrophe, skill in battle, research, especially into secrets and hidden things, adept, patient, and worry. And for all y'all that want to know, is he well hung, Method Man? I'll keep that to myself. But the way you hear my voice, you should be able to tell how he's packing. Anyway, Neptune conjoined to yet posterior, evil influences, the man of death, wastefulness, unseen dangers, poisoning. Scandal, Pluto parallel prima hiatum, scandal, violence, disgrace, imprisonment, bringer of rain. Pluto parallel Coxa, good for voyages, gained by merchandise, redemption of captives, prophetic ability. Pluto conjoined to Marqueb, voyages, educational work, broad knowledge, piety, temporary injury. Chiron parallel Procyon, this can bring wealth, fame, good fortune, sharp mind, willpower, stubbornness, violence, sudden success and disaster. Occult, politics, dissipation, death by drowning, love of dogs, dog bites. Doesn't mean all this will apply. Chiron parallel Catalpha gives friendship and sagacity, but frivolity, love of pleasure, fame, horsemanship. And he got North Node conjunct Deneb Algeia, wise leader, finding the joy in inheritance sorrow, and vice versa, glory and fame if death is avoided, great fortune, astrology, occult, government, business. I'm gonna tell y'all something else too. I shouldn't say this because that's too much private information. I'm not gonna do that to him. I was gonna give y'all this one little tidbit of information, but I'm not gonna do that because that's just too much. Like I said, I'm not that type of person where I'm gonna go into like some serious details about the actual situation. But yeah, I gotta watch what I say. Great fortune, astrology, occult, government, business, psychic, visionary, originality, personal charm, temperance, aviation. South Node parallel Deneb, martial arts, ability to command, liberality, beneficence. So that wraps up the case study on Method Man. I feel vulnerable right now. No, actually, I feel I'm kind of glad I told this story because it is a big part of my life, and it's a lesson to show again how I fucked myself up with that Leo, that Saturn in Leo. Again, trying to be competitive, trying to one up those women, trying to get clout, all that type of stuff. And yeah, I just learned the hard way that when I allow my Saturn in Leo to take charge, I tend to lose. But again, is it really a loss? Because like I said, I would not have wanted to just be one of the RZA's baby mamas. I really wouldn't have wanted that. So maybe, it's not much of a loss after all. And again, it's like the memory, the fact that I was such a hardcore Wu-Tang fan and I went that far with it. It's kind of shameful in some ways, but on the other hand, I sometimes sit back and be like, damn, you did that shit. let me just see. I got to send my student, and I'll get to the couple of readings that I have to do. Cell Paz, I know you had a question. Hold on real quick. We are looking at the central 7. Okay, I'm gonna see what y'all are saying in a minute. Don't judge me too hard. But honestly, I feel like from Riz's perspective, and again, I don't make stuff up. So when I tell you I'm almost certain he had called me, and one time I got a call from a Brooklyn phone number, and you know ODB was from Brooklyn. I got a call from a Brooklyn phone number and it said Osiris Telemarketing. And you know, ODB used to call himself Osiris. And I was like, is that one of their little businesses or money laundering shit? But for some reason, I wasn't home that day. And I remember getting this message on my voicemail. It was just a song. And I was like, that sounds like something he would do. And the song was a theme song to a movie. And the name of that movie is a name of one of the songs on his Bobby Digital album. So when I tell you, I think I did make a huge impression upon him, even when he knew how shit went down. I think he was kind of like fascinated that somebody was so much into the Wu-Tang like that, like a woman was such a fanatic like that, that she was willing to go to the ends of the earth and all that type of stuff. Men can be funny. On one hand, they claim they want a certain type of woman. On the other hand, they will go weak for a woman that's like real, like that got that strong sense of individuality and that's very liberated. A lot of men, they get off on that, but they really don't want to admit it. Because I remember me and Rizzo, we had a conversation about promiscuity. And I think he had asked me how many guys I had sex with. I'm almost certain he asked me. And I was honest with him. Again, I was like really acting up. I was honest with him and we had to talk about it. And he was like, no, he was like, he was like, women can't do what men do and stuff like that. And he was being very traditional with it. And back then I was such a feminist, not, you know, in the annoying type of feminist way, but I've always been the type of woman where I'm like, you know what, just because I'm a woman doesn't mean that I can't have a free, fanciful sex life or whatever. So I was telling him that, and yeah, he wasn't buying it, but it was just interesting how we had a conversation about that, especially knowing what he knew. But yeah, men are funny. Men are funny. All right, let me see what y'all are saying. Queen Dardy said it is unconditional love because you didn't want anything from him and you loved to talk. That's exactly what it was. And let me tell you, I put that man on a pedestal. So when I met him in person, I was like, yo, this motherfucker is arrogant. But then again, he showed me that tender side. He showed me that vulnerable side when he was like, yo, Meth is in the other room if you want to go in there. And I couldn't believe he was that revealing about that. I was like, wow. Which made me think that like when they were doing tours, there would probably be times where Rizzo would probably be in a hotel room by himself, not having no chick. And Method Man would have all the chicks, and maybe Ghostface too. And I did tell Ghostface that he was the pretty boy of the clan. And ever since he had called himself Pretty Tony. So I'm taking credit for that too, that I inspired Ghostface to call himself Pretty Tony because I told him he was the pretty boy of the clan and he couldn't even see it at the time. He was like, word? Because remember, when I met them, like I met all of the clan members in 96, except for RZA ODB. Then I met RZA in 97. They had only been out like 3-4 years. So they still weren't aware of how really big they were. Like they really hadn't grasped it. And they really didn't realize their potential either that back then. But yeah, I told him, I was like, you the pretty boy of the clan. And next thing you know, he called himself Pretty Tony. You said, can they back up their statement through the CDC regarding promiscuity? Yeah, I really did follow my heart, but then I allow my ego to get in the way. You see how that works? Sigma said, I just need a good woman for my kids. Moonlight Orange said, you did. Your soul knows it. Keep the positive memory and emotional attachment to those phone calls. That's all I have. That's all I have. NYC Black Honey said, no, it's not shameful at all. You were living and having fun. Who wants to live a boring life? That's what I'm saying. Like when I get old, about 85 years old, I'm gonna have stories to tell my great grandchildren, if I even have any. And I don't have grandchildren right now, and I don't want none anytime soon. Meet Murph said, nah, you achieve your dreams. Oh, thank you. Oh, Queen Dart, don't make me cry, Queen Dart. You said you were his earth. Even not being with him doesn't change you being earth. I have a feeling if I see him in the future, we going, let me stop. I'm waiting for him to get a divorce, honestly. I'm just biding my time. I'm like, got a couple more years left, I see. You see, he said, I already heard from a friend, Meth, as well, I concur. Connect said, love when you share your stories and teach us lessons while doing it. Thank you. Queen Dardy said, a lot of aunties have similar. Look, let me tell you, it did start with my aunties. I learned as a little child that one of my aunts and my second cousin, they went to the Whispers concert and they went backstage and had sex with two of the Whispers members. So that shit runs in my blood. So yeah, and I remember my mom told me that years ago when I was a little kid, and I remember being amazed, like, not auntie. Yep, yes, it was. And my aunt, she was roommates with Cindy Birdsong. She replaced Flo in the Supremes. So yeah, it's interesting. Oh, thank you, Asha. Yeah, but those are some crazy times. But again, as a Sagittarius, I'm about that adventure, and it was definitely an adventure. And honestly, I don't regret it. And again, like sometimes I think sometimes men, like, they don't understand, like, when it comes to groupies, because it's more than just the guys being sexy. It's like you're in love with the music, you're in love with the whole atmosphere, you're in, like, and one of the biggest ways that a woman can show her love is by opening her legs. Let's be real. That's just how it is. So it's like, that's why groupies will never die. Like they will always. And then now you got a lot of male groupies, like that one dude that was trying to follow them upstairs, and Ghostface had to handle that. And I was cracking up. I didn't blame Ghostface. But again, I can vouch that Method Man is a cool ass dude. I don't know him, like, deeply personally or whatever, but the 2 times I have, spent time with him, he's been cool as shit, even though he snitched on me. But I have to give it to him. He was looking out for his boy. So I can't even really be very, mad about that. He was just looking out for the RZA and making sure RZA wasn't getting hurt. Because RZA is a Cancer and Method Man is a Pisces, and both of them can be soft as jello on the inside, get their feelings hurt and all that type of stuff. So yeah, but that's my little groupie story. Okay, so Pass, what was your question? You had a question. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He cockblocked me, and that's his South Node on my 8th house cuts. Happy New Year, Kritika. Is smack dab on my, that's why when I saw that shit, I was like, oh shit, that makes so much sense. And with his Saturn on my South Node, that's like him, blocking, basically. But it didn't work because I still got some of that. Okay, Oro. So you're next. So Pass, please post your question, and then I'll look for the other question. It was by somebody, I think. They posted a super chat. Something about transits, I think. Okay, what am I looking at? Okay, I gotta do manage videos, live. Oh no, I want, okay. Hey, Johnny, I didn't even see you. I was busy doing all this stuff. Okay, so I got a super chat from Josie. Thank you. I got one from Alex. Thank you. And then Meet Merp. Is this from today? I think so. And then let me see. Temperance Cold Tarot. Thank you for your super chat. But I don't know if that's from, they need to put a date on these because I can't even tell. Okay, here's the date. Okay. So no, it's just Josie and Johnny. Johnny, thank you so much for your super chat. Josie, thank you. Okay. And then Sel, did you post your question? And then Golden Owl, I got you too. Sel, where you at? Oh, yes. Okay. You said, what do you think about that book, The Rules? I don't know. What book is that? You should take that word little out of this. Yeah, it wasn't nothing little about that adventure. Happy 2023. I am well versed. All right, so I'm looking for your question. While I'm looking for your question, or you could repost it, I'll answer Josie's question since you sent the super chat. You said transiting Saturn in my 12th house will square my natal Pluto in my 9th house. I would love your advice on how to navigate a transit like this. So you said Saturn in your 12th, square your Pluto in the 9th. First thing I'm thinking of is if you got any lies that you're telling, any secrets, dark secrets especially, they could be exposed with that transit. Also, you could have some situations that really test your faith. I was about to say be afraid, be careful of fraud type of situations because you could become a victim of fraud. Also, be careful traveling. You know, if you're planning on traveling when that transit is real close, don't be surprised if your flight is grounded or rerouted, or a flight might be canceled, period. Or there might be some issue when you're traveling abroad. You know, you might get robbed or something like that. Not saying that's definitely going to happen, but that's a heavy transit that can produce some issues. It can also make you feel like just canceling whatever is oppressing you. Might be canceling a person, might be canceling a job. And that can also force you to grow. You might feel forced to grow during this time, and the growth may not be pleasant. You know, it might be more so growing pains type of energy. So, but I'm sure you'll be fine. I don't think you have anything to really worry about, especially if you're not living your life in a certain way where, you know, you're facing criminal charges at some point. If you were like a criminal and you had that Saturn transit coming up, I'd be like, shit, you better go move somewhere, or you better keep a low profile because they're after you. But since I'm sure you're on the, you know, light side, you probably aren't going to really suffer too much through that transit. I'll just say that. Be careful walking too, because you could injure yourself, and next thing you know, you're having an issue with walking, all that stuff. But I hope that helps. All right, Sel, where you at? Thank you, Kawaii Honey. I'll get to you in a minute. And let me see, I don't have much time left because I do got to sign into my class. I have about 20 minutes. Happy New Year's, Cam. Okay, so you said, I want to know if I'm going to pass my probation at work. I got the Chariot, which is a solid yes. So, Chariot is about, accomplishing things and victory and all that type of stuff. So, yes, you're going to sail through it. You're going to be fine. Oh, you're so welcome, Queen Dara D. And then let me see, Oro, what was your question? And then a Golden Owl, I know you got a question too. Okay, you said, I want to know, would it be a good idea for me to travel this year? All right, let's see. If you pull the 10 of Pentacles, that's good. That means you're going to be safe with the traveling, but let me see what it says on my end. Like when I see that 10 of Pentacles card with respect to travel, it makes me think like you're going to get more stamps on your passport. I got the Knight of Swords, which is a card of travel, but just know with Knight of Swords, there could be some complications in the course of travels, but sometimes that just makes the adventure even more livelier. Like I wouldn't I wouldn't let the Knight of Swords discourage you from traveling, but just know that there could be some unexpected situations that occur. Again, it could be, a flight that is delayed or something, or you got to take another flight or whatever like that. But Knight of Swords is very much dealing with travel, so that's a yes. And then Golden Owl, I know you wanted to know about your year. Hold on, let me see. I'm scrolling to try to find your question again. All that talking got me hungry. Okay, I think I'll get into your question. Hold on. All right, wait a minute. I can't find your question, but you wanted to know, will your year be... You said something about the year. I think I scrolled up too fast. Please post your question again, Golden Owl. Oh yeah, I answered your question, so it looks like you will pass probation. Damn, Kawhi, you was born on 9/11. That's rough. No, that's not rough. But 11 is a number of conflict, internal and external, I always say. And because it's dealing with Cancer, moon energy, you could often find yourself in conflict involving home, family, mother, your own experiences as a mother, race, ethnicity, food even, and other women. 11 can often breed love triangles. And it looks like your life path number is 5. Looks like it was 9. Hold on, let me make sure I'm calculating that right. 11, it's tricky. I have some strong 11 influences in my chart, and that explains the situation with the Method Man and the RZA partly. Yeah, your life path number is 9, which helps to straighten out that 11 a little bit, because 9 can, deal with where you are able to continue to forge ahead despite whatever conflicts you're dealing with. But Yeah, that 11 is no joke when it comes to interference from third parties, because that's what it produces. So again, with the Method Man and the RZA thing, I dealt with the interference from third parties because my ascendant is at the 11th degree of Capricorn. I got Pluto at the 11th degree of Capricorn squaring my ascendant. And then I got my Neptune at the 11th degree of Sagittarius. So I got that 11 strong in my chart, so I could definitely relate to it. The main thing to keep in mind with 11 is that you can't ever give too much of your power over to others, but you can't allow your ego to get out of control either. So you see how I allowed my ego to get out of control in that situation? Because at 11, when you take it apart, it's 2 ones, and it's ego. And sometimes the 2 egos are 2 separate people, but sometimes the 2 egos or the 2 ones are representing the conflict within yourself. It's always best to operate in terms of that 2 compound number when you're dealing with 11, but sometimes it's not always advantageous for you to do so, or it's not easy for you to operate at that 2 energy. And sometimes if you're being too much of a 2 instead of an 11, now you're basically just accepting any old bullshit from people because of that unconditional love type crap. Hope that helps. And then again, with you being a 9 life path number, that's really good for going your own way in life, where you don't have to answer to anybody at some point. You're doing your own thing in terms of making money. You're very independent, very resilient, because you know that 9 is endings, but also new beginnings. It's a very special number to have as your life path number, but it also denotes conflict. It can be violence. It also deals with men as well. And then I think there was somebody else too. Oh, so NYC, the fact that Method Man is right on my 8th house cusp, that points to the whole sexual thing, me seducing him. And basically the part that I found that part to be irresistible. So remember, I said once I saw, because Leo rules competition. So his South Node is at the 22nd degree of Leo. It's right on my 8th house cusp. My 8th house cusp is 22nd degree of Leo. So when I saw that all these women were on his jock like that, that competition kicked in. And with Leo on the 8th, that's like sexual competition, right? And it was like, I got to show these bitches how it's done. And that's how it all started. Like, I totally lost track of my goal about meeting the RZA. Like, when Method Man was right there, I totally lost sight of the end goal. And that's what I mean about that Leo versus Capricorn. Because Capricorn is about being patient and knowing that you're going to eventually get there, even though you're struggling. And, you know, with Capricorn, it's going to be a struggle. So I did go through a little struggle trying to meet the RZA, even where I'm chilling with Wu-Tang in 1996, but RZA ain't there. So that's part of the struggle. And I didn't want to just continue on with the struggle and just be like, because once I saw Method Man, that Leo ego kicked in and I was like, clout. I was like bragging rights. Because again, RZA was always my dude. Yeah, I thought Method Man was cute, but I wasn't on Method Man like all these other chicks were. I was all about the RZA. But again, you see how strong that Leo energy can be when it comes to competitiveness and the ego? Honest to God, I wouldn't have even did that with Method Man if it wasn't about this competition thing. And then once it was, and then again, once I saw him in that position where he's on the phone talking to his girlfriend, and again, I knew I could get him, like, when I tell you my ego used to be out of control, because once I saw him on the phone talking to that girl, or it might have been his wife or girlfriend or baby mama, somebody, he was a woman and he was really trying to calm her down. But once I saw that he was on the phone, I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. And the fact that he hung up that phone without even saying goodbye, I remember I felt kind of bad when he did that shit, because what happened was, so he's on the phone, he's talking to the woman, and I'm sitting on the bed directly across on him, and I'm just staring at him. And I'm like staring at him so he'll look up at me and look at me, but he was looking down the whole time and talking to his girlfriend. And that's when I went over and I started kissing him on his neck. That's that Taurus. He got moon in Taurus. That's his, like, that's that spot. So I started kissing him on his neck, and he quietly put that phone down, and it was on. So again, it was the ego in me, because I had totally forgot about the RZA at that moment. If I would have been thinking about the RZA, I would have never did that. I would have hightailed it out of there. I would have never ended up in that hotel room. But again, I was blinded by the light, led by my ego, and did some shit like that. Because again, I knew I could pull it off. And that brings me to now. Like, I'm telling this story because I was like, I did that so I could tell this story years later. But then I ended up having to pay for it dearly. But yeah, when he was like, I like you, shorty, I like you a lot, I knew then. I was like, oh yeah, I got him. And it's like, I could still hear that voice in my ear, because he like whispered it in my ear. And I do got Jupiter and Aries in my third house, which explains why I was being very spontaneous and impulsive. Because again, I didn't plan it out. Like when I first groped him, I didn't plan that shit out. That just came to me real quick, like get behind him and grope him and get his attention. Like let him know like what time it is. And that shit, let him know. And I got I got the balls in the, I remember I grabbed all of that shit. I was like, and I did it in a very soft, sensual way. You know how sensual Taurus are. And again, that's his moon in Taurus. And you know, Pisces men, a lot of times, they have a hard time turning down a pretty chick. And that's how it was. Oh, there it is, golden hour. Will this year be better for me than the last? Okay. Yeah, my Jupiter return is coming up. That is one of the things that we can rest in our power about as women. Just that feminine power where we can bring a man to his knees. Like a man could be trying to do the right thing. He married, all this stuff. Then he get in front of a woman, and next thing you know, he's just weak-willed. He can't stop. Like that's the power of women all day. But men have that power as well. Now I got the Four of Swords, which means that this year it will be more laid back for you. It will be better. Like if you was ripping and running last year, if you were dealing with problem after problem, this year is going to be more calmer, more quiet down, because I got the Four of Swords. Okay, I'll get to your question. Thank you, NYC. So yeah. So you said Happy New Year, Rob. Happy New Year to you, NYC. You said I just opened my tattoo brow business. I want to get my brows tattooed. I wish I was in your area because I would go to you. You said, will the clients come and the money flow? I'm so nervous. I could cry. Oh, Venus in Cancer, Taurus in the 10th house, Libra North Node. Yeah, the eyebrows, that's your Libra North Node all day. So you want to know again, will the clients come and the money flow? Okay, let's see. Will the clients come? I'm telling you, if I was in your area, I would definitely be coming to you, because I need something done with my eyebrows. They're sparse on the ends. I think it's because of my thyroid disorder. They say when you have a thyroid disorder, your eyebrows can be kind of sparse looking. I got 7 of Pentacles, which means money's going to be coming in, but you may feel like it's not coming in at the rate you want it to come in. So when I see that 7 of Pentacles, that's like you putting the marketing out there, you promoting your business, and then you might only be getting a certain response, and you might be like, okay, this isn't enough. What else I can do? So the 7 of Pentacles means that you're pretty much in a period of trial and error, and you have to basically throw a bunch of things against the wall and see what sticks in terms of promoting and marketing your business. But you're going to be good. You're going to be fine. Just know that it takes a while for people to become familiar with new businesses. You know, people are naturally distrusting. So you got to find a way to entice these clients, these customers to your brow business. That's what you got to do. Even if you got to take a little loss in the beginning just to get these people in the door. You know, you might have to offer something at a deep discount, buy one service, get the other 50% off or something like that. What holiday we got coming up? We got Valentine's Day coming up, so you can really, you know, take advantage of that with the eyebrow. You know, you'd be like, you know, you don't want no raggedy brows on Valentine's Day. All right, who else we got? Tracy will say, yep, I got thyroid and the ends are gone too. That's why I got it done. I love it. So you think I should get it done too? Cause yeah, my eyebrows be suffering, man. Like they're sad. They really are. Patricia said I have full thick eyebrows like Brooke Shields in the early 80s. Oh wow. That means you could do a lot with your eyebrow. You got a lot of options, Patricia. So MLK Day, so you could do it for MLK, but how would you market that with the MLK special? You should overcome these ugly ass eyebrows or something, make it like that. All right, Derek, thank you so much for your super chat. You said my aunt is getting married this April. She's a Cancer, June 23rd. He's a Capricorn, January 1st. He's Dominican and they'll marry in the DR. I'm worried that she's rushing. What do the cards say? All right, let's see. Is she rushing? Is she going to be all right with this marriage? You know, surprisingly, Capricorn and Cancer could do very well in marriage. That's if they stay in their assigned roles or, you know, prescribed roles, I'll say. That's if, you know, they can both allow each other their space and all that. That can actually be a long-term marriage. So, oh, but damn, I got the 5 of Cups. Yeah, she's rushing. This is terrible. So no, let me stop. No, it's not a good sign knowing that they're getting married this year. And I got the 5 of Cups. It makes me think that they've already gone through some problems. And she's like kind of saying, you know what, I'm gonna still stick it out, even though he's hurt me, even though he's done things that made me really question his loyalty, I'm still gonna stick it out. The outcome is the 7 of Pentacles. Did I tell you the card was 5 of Cups? And the outcome is the 7 of Pentacles, which can mean that she's going to start assessing her situation and maybe possibly thinking that, damn, maybe I got more than what I bargained for, or maybe I'm not getting what I was promised in this marriage, or maybe this shit ain't all that it's cracked up to be. But it doesn't look good for her. God damn, that's a shame. Now she's a 23 and 23s usually do well in life, but you know, there's always exceptions and even 23s have their problems. And because she's a Cancer, she's the type that probably will stick it out. Hey, Kenyatta. All right, let me see if you posted your question. Oh, good. I can look at the YouTube on my screen now. Where is it at? Oh, guess what movie I was watching last night? I've seen this movie so many times. Oh, here it is. Steel Magnolias. I love that movie. Of course, I was crying at the end when Sally Field it does that scene where she's crying over Shelby's death. And she's like, I wish I could just hit somebody. And she was like, I want to know why. That part gets me every time. And you know, Sally Field is a Scorpio. I'm like, yeah, it would take a Scorpio to nail that role. Oh my God, that movie gets me every time. Oh, Rebecca. Oh, okay, that's NYC. Okay. All right, you said, is my husband trying to put roots on me? I think he put roots on me. That's from that Miss Cleo commercial. Oh, this is deep. Is my husband trying to put roots on me? Derek said, thank you. She's giving him money, and I don't think she's still over her ex, who is a scumbag Aries who abused her for years. Well, that could be the 5 of Cups. And he makes his brother spy on their son and on them. Yeah, that situation sounds a little messy, Derek. I see why you're concerned. I really do, because the way those cards look. So let's see. Is my husband trying to put roots on me? Now that's a damn shame when you ask that about your husband, but you could be married to somebody and still not fully know these people. So you might have to start referring to your husband as these people, like how I be telling some people to refer to certain family members, or just refer to him as that man until you get some clarity, until you really find out what he's up to. So we're going to say, is that man trying to put roots on me? To me, it really skeeves me out when I hear men doing spells on women. Like that really, I don't know what it is. Like I can hear about a woman doing a spell on a man and be like, okay, well, yeah, whatever. But when I hear about a man doing a spell on a woman, I get real skeeved out about that for some. Well, I guess it tells me that he's ruthless like that. Because usually men don't get involved in such matters. You know what I mean? So for a man to resort to putting roots on you or do some spell work on you, that means he's like on some next level shit. Okay. I will say you got to watch what you drink. You got to watch your food. I wouldn't allow him to be making me anything right about now. I wouldn't allow him to be cooking me any eggs, grits, especially anything dealing with liquid. He'd be like, I'll make you some coffee. I'd be like, no, I got it. And you want a cup of tea, dear? No, I'm cool. Here, let me get you a glass of water. You look dirty. Nah, I'll just suffer. It does look like he could be trying to give you something, trying to put something on you, because I got the 2 of Cups, followed by the Page of Pentacles. So it could be where he's trying to make you either more docile or trying to have you where you're really not operating according to your will. Like it's like he's trying to wear down your will. But that's crazy. What occult reference are you talking about? Kauai, thank you for your super chat. But yeah, it does look like Kenyatta. You can't, I wouldn't trust him right now. And I definitely wouldn't be taking anything from him. Yeah, you got to put on the full armor of God. So you said, can you post the occult reference on Patreon? What are you? I'm not sure what you mean. Is it real what you feel? Instead, you'll like it instead of loving. All right, Stacy, thank you for your well, no, I think you're Diggable Planet. You say, I'm curious, what is the past life connection to my son Raymond? What do the cards say? That's not a good question for tarot. Will I be happily married in this life? I was married for 13 years, but have been unmarried for 25. Well, you know what? 13 years is a hell of a lot longer than I've been married. I've been married 0 years. I mean, I was about to say 30. I've been married 0 years. And this ain't about you personally, but women that do this crack me up. You had a chance to be married, and you was married for 25, 10, even 5 years. And then there's women like me who never been married and, never probably will get married, never had a chance, never dealt with a guy that really wanted to give his heart to you and stuff. And now you're trying to do it again. I mean, your luck going to have to run out somehow, sometime. No, I'm just playing with you. But no, sometimes I do be looking at the women that have been married already. You be like, am I going to get married? But I'm like, God damn, let us get married. Let's get married that never got married. Actually, I wouldn't want to be married anymore. And if I was to see the RZA again, which is a possibility, I'm not going to rule it out, I wouldn't want to marry him at this point. I really wouldn't. I would want to just be friends, real cool like that. Because I don't need no man. First of all, he going to tell me what I need to be doing. And I don't need no man that's all aging, at a certain rate. Now I feel like I got to take care of him. It's too late for all that. You should have married me like 20, 30 years ago. So are you going to be happily married in this life? All right, let's see. So that means, are you going to be married again? We'll save the other question for another time, because that's some deep shit. I got the 10 of Wands, which means that to get married again, it would take a lot. And what follows that is the 9 of Cups. And that's like you saying, I'm good. That's like you saying, I'm good at the end of the day. I don't need to be married again. So I think you were like the one and done type of person where you had the 13 years and now it's time for you to just live your life as a single woman. Doesn't mean you can't have any friends or any romantic partners, but the whole marriage thing, I don't even think you want it. I don't even think you want to be married like that. You're just like, it's just too much. Okay, Tracy, I got your question for the I got your question for the New Year's Eve party, so I'll answer that later tonight. And Moonlight Orange, I got your question too. And my student, okay, let me see something. I might have some more time, y'all. I think my student may not be able to make it. Y'all didn't hear that from me. Hold on. Oh, no problem. But yeah. Trey. Okay. Yeah, I'll respond to your email later. But I read that one sentence and I was shaking my head like, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm glad somebody else was mentioning that. But anyway, is that it? I think I got everybody. Wait a minute. I think somebody, let me see. Oh yeah, Kauai, what did you mean about the occult? Oh, from the case study? What case study? Patricia said, one of my goals is to get married and adopt some children. That's a good goal. Red Bunny said, don't take it out on us. The worst say the guy never gave us his heart to us, maybe, right? I'm just like, when I get like that, that's my Venus in Libra, because I'd be like, life should be fair, but we know life is not fair. And also, I know that the grass isn't greener on the other side. Oh, yes, this one. I'm still confused. So again, the occult reference is dealing with method man? But yeah, my Venus in Libra has this, that's not fair type of thing. Hey, Queen Dara D, you said, what is next in love for me this year? And you were right about that guy, the guy at your job. I was wondering what happened with him. Okay, let's see what's next for love. I'm in the mood for love, simply because you're near me. Oh, I feel like doing a set of nails tonight. I should record it for later. Oh, child, I got the Knight of Cups. That tells me somebody gonna be cupcaking you. Somebody gonna be trying to wine and dine you. Somebody gonna be all up your butt, acting like you just the most prettiest thing on earth. Because you know that Knight of Cups, that's the cupcake card. But you gotta be careful with the Knight of Cups too, because that could deal with where you get with a player who's not serious, or they might just be gassing your head up, but then they fail to show and prove. Just know that you are going to be involved with somebody. You're going to be going out on some dates, enjoying yourself and all that. And I just say, try not to get emotionally caught up too fast. And you should be good, but it looks good for your love life. But I have a feeling you'll have that challenge. Oh yeah, post your IG business page in the chat. Sure, go ahead. And that's your brow business, right? See, I wish I was near you, because I'm telling you, I would become a regular customer. But tell me, is the tattoo eyebrows, is it one and done? Like you get it done once and you don't have to ever get it done again? Oh, conjoined to his north node. Oh, okay. Now, in Method Man's case, I would think the occult could just deal with where he's into maybe astrology. And then, like with the Chinese ancient systems, like a mysticism, that's very much dealing with occult themes and all that. And he's a big time comic book buff. And you know, there's a lot of occult themes in the comic books. So, Red Bunny, you said my therapist thinks 2023 I need to do an online dating. Oh, thinks in 2023 I need to do online dating. Why is your therapist all in your business like that? It's like, that's what they're supposed to do. I've tried many times, and in my reading, we agree my chart is not set up for it. Should I try it again in the first quarter? See, this is why them therapists can be dangerous, because they're not looking at your chart. They're telling you what they tell everybody. Oh, you should try online dating this year. And if it's just not meant to be in your chart, then you really should stay away from it. But I'll see what the cards say. Should you try online dating in the first quarter of this year? Did I ever tell you about the therapy sessions I used to go to? My boss, she sent me to therapy when my Taurus baby daddy came to my job and was acting a fool. And she saw it and everything. She got word what happened. And so she then referred me to the employee sponsored therapy. So I would go, and I liked it because I got to get out of work, because they would allow me to have my sessions during work. So I would have to go travel to this other location and have my therapy session. Well, I remember one day we were talking about something deep about my life, and I broke down and started crying. This is a question that I need to ask y'all. So I broke down and started crying. And my therapist, who was a man, he had me stand up and he gave me a hug. And it was a long hug. Was that inappropriate? Is that something that therapists do? Because this was my first time going to therapy. I had been going to him for about 2 months by then. And I remember I was crying my eyes out, and he had, like, it wasn't like I was standing up. He had me stand up and he gave me this long ass hug. And I think he was even rubbing my back. And I remember while he was hugging me, I was like, is he supposed to be doing it? Because I thought therapists were supposed to keep a certain level of professionalism. So y'all let me know. Press 1 if you think that was inappropriate for a therapist to do. Press 2 if you think that was appropriate. And I'm answering your question at this point. You said it depends on the therapist. What? It depends on whether he's cute or not. All right. Again, should you do the online dating for the first quarter of the year? Then Laboo, I got you. So I think 1 I said is inappropriate. 2 is not. 2 is appropriate. Okay, I got the 3 of Cups, which could be online dating, but I look at 3 of Cups more as going out somewhere, actually going to a physical location and dating. Not really online dating. Like with the 3 of Cups, you could like get some hits on your online profile, but it might just be hits. That's what you're getting. It might be nothing that's really connecting. You said the lingering hug. It was a lingering hug, yo. That hug was like, I'll say that hug was almost a minute long. Maybe I'm exaggerating. That hug was like, I'll say 30 seconds to 40 seconds long, which can be a long time. And I remember wondering, like, is this appropriate? I thought we were going to start kissing. You know how they be in the movies where somebody start crying and they, wait, has anybody ever been in a situation like that? You know how in the movies, somebody starts crying, the person comforts them and hugs them, and then all of a sudden, they never had this sexual connection before. All of a sudden, they start kissing and stuff. Is that only in the movies? Because I've never been in a situation like that where I'm upset, some man hugged me, and then we just start kissing all passionately. Never been in that type of situation. And I was doing the ugly cry. So he probably did. Well, he was probably like, God damn, she probably hasn't had a hug in a while. Yeah. But yeah, I thought that was a little strange though. Honestly, I don't think that's appropriate for a therapist to do that. Kauai said some therapists can get emotionally involved if they do not learn about counter-transference in the therapist session. Yes, I learned about that counter-transference. Tracism said, my first boyfriend, see, they tried to hide your comment, would always try to fuck me when I was sad. Like, bro, what the fuck? Now, you didn't even spell it F-U-C-K. You put F-U-Q, and YouTube is still trying to hide it. Almond milk, they hid your comment. It's fake TV shit. So basically, they're acting like YouTube, the overlords, they're acting like we're little children and we've never heard curse words before. Like, I don't get this shit. Same with autocorrect. Autocorrect does that when you're trying to text. You want to be like, fuck that motherfucker. And then it's just autocorrected. I'm like, the society we live in and y'all are censoring these words, really? But whatever. I'm just like, this is ridiculous. Hey, Tiana. Thank you, Patricia, for your super chat. You said, what career field should I pursue a job? I thought you were going to be a therapist. All right, let me see. What career field should I pursue a job in next? I have to admit, though, let's say if I was a therapist and I had this fine man in my office and he was crying his eyes out, I might be tempted to give him a hug too, but I would have ulterior motives. That's why I question that dude's intention, because I know how I think. So yeah, and I'm like, am I reading too much into it? Now I got the Three of Pentacles, and the Three of Pentacles can be somebody that is dealing with some type of like being a director, being a controller, if you wanted to go the accounting route, but it can also deal with where you are working in the healthcare field. So that could be mental health, which would be therapists. Patricia said, if my future client did this to me, I would resign as their therapist. Oh, you mean short-term job? Okay, that makes more sense. Mother fudge cake. Queen Dorothy said, yes, console, but not linger. Yeah, it was lingering. Do you have to let him linger? Do you have to? Do you have to? Do you have to let it linger? That was my song. Okay, so you wanted to know about what your next short-term job would be. That makes much more sense. You're going to be working in another food establishment. It look like you're going to be a barista again, because I got the temperance card and she making drinks. And or that could be where you work at a bar. You might be a barmaid. You might want to think about going to bartending school. I could see you being a good bartender, and they make good money in tips. You might want to think about that, Patricia. But then again, you know, sometimes you might have to deal with some unruly people. But if it's a nice establishment, I think you'll do okay. And somebody let me know, how long is bartending school? I know somebody in this chat knows how long bartending school is. How many weeks? I'm thinking that's like a 6-week program. It's probably the same as like going to dealer school to work at the casinos. And you could teach yourself at home right now, being a bartender. Crazyism said, my primary care physician is a woman and she is always hugs. Maybe my aqua moon, but it's something I can never get used to. Yeah, some people are just huggy people. I'm not a huggy person at all. That's why when somebody hugs me, I'm immediately, and it could be stuff that's happened in my past so probably a few weeks. It could be some stuff that's happened in my past where if somebody does hug me and I don't know you like that, I automatically think you want something from me. And I guess that's a bad way of looking at things, but I didn't grow up in a really touchy-feely family. And I feel like that's a good thing. Josie said, I've seen bartending programs for about 6 weeks. None your business said, I went to bartending school. It took 2 weekends and that's it. Yeah, I had a feeling it was short. Yeah, look at that. Patricia, because if you got experience, you know, working at Starbucks and stuff and like mixing drinks with the coffee drinks, it might be to your advantage to just take a few weekends out your life, go to bartending school, and then start getting a job as a bartender. Because again, those tips be on point a lot of times. Josie said, I've seen bartending programs for about 6 weeks. Queen Dardy said, listen, when you hug a man, you smell his cologne. If he smells right, like it makes you want that man. Yeah. Tells of Dre said, it'd be like that hugging you to get something out of you. Yeah. I got trust issues. And I told y'all about that hairdresser that one time. I know I told y'all this story about the hairdresser. And this is when I was like maybe 15 or 16. I had a male hairdresser. I think it was the only male hairdresser I ever had. And of course, it had to be a situation where it was awkward. So I remember he kept pressing his thing up against my arm the whole time he was doing my hair. And, you know, you're in that awkward position where it's like, okay, do I move my arm? If I move my arm, is he going to like, is he going to know? I know he's trying to, or, you know what I mean? It was weird. So I was like, my arm was just stuck there. And it seemed like no matter what angle he was doing my hair, that dick was pressed up against my forearm. Like, so he would be doing my hair on the left side, but that dick be still pressed up against my right forearm. I'm like, how the hell he pulling this shit off? Like, it was just crazy. Yeah, that was weird. And I bet you he did that to a lot of women. And probably a lot of women were too uncomfortable to say anything. Like it was too awkward where they didn't want to call him out on it. And that's the funny thing, Queen Dara D. I think he was bi. But you know, it'd be the bisexual men, they'd be the biggest freaks. So I can imagine a bisexual man doing that, something like that. And remember back in the 80s, for some of my old heads up in here, why did it seem like back in the 80s having like male hairdressers were more common? You know what I'm saying? Are men still doing women's hair? But it seemed like that was kind of common back in the 80s for there to be male hairdressers doing women's hair. You're welcome, Patricia. Josie said, if you're new to bartending, I suggest working at an event venue. You can work on your skills and memorizing recipes at an easy pace. Well, thanks for providing that advice. LeBou said, it's true, bi men can put it down like no other. Tyrell said, I'm bilingual. LeBou said, men seem more androgynous back in, they sure were. They were more comfortable with, you know, wearing like the glitter and the sequins and the jerry curls and like the eyeliner and all that stuff. That's why Prince, you know, he fit in so well. And speaking of Prince, for those that saw that clip that I had for the preview of this live stream, wasn't Prince so beautiful? I love that clip where you see him close up and he's playing that keyboard. When I see, I be like, yo, that was a beautiful man. Oh my God. And I still plan on doing another video about Prince, especially dealing with his marriage to Maytag. I can't stand that hoe. That's going to be hard to get through because again, I feel, you know, Prince was a major part of my childhood and teenage years and stuff like that. And I remember even back when he married Maytag, I couldn't stand it. I never liked that chick. I remember the first time I saw her, I think she was in that 7 video by Prince. And I remember I was like, oh, she is pretty. But then that was it. And I remember thinking like, why did he marry her? But then when I found out the story, it made sense. And his Venus is in Taurus. And it just goes to show again, like I'm saying, powerful men can be weakened by women. And that's what happened to Prince. I don't want to go deep into it. But Maytag and her mother, mainly her mother, they sought Prince out. They was doing the straight gold digger stuff and Prince fell for it. Why? Because men are weakened when it comes to a beautiful face and a nice body. And that's what happened. I really don't believe there was love there between the two of them. I definitely know Mayte didn't love Prince, but even on Prince's end, I don't think he really loved Mayte. She was more so of a trophy piece for him. She was more so of that, that image that this is his woman. She's dancing for me. She's, has that look. You got that look. Yes, and Mayte is a Scorpio and Prince is a Scorpio rising, which can be dangerous. When I do this reading and get into this synastry, you'll see what I mean. That's why I don't like first house placements in a lot of synastry cases, because it puts too much power in the person's hands whose sun is in your first house. Matter of fact, and I think in Mayte's case, her son was in his 12th house, which could be even worse. But yeah. Yup, her mother was the original Kris Jenner. Did you know that they tried to go after Michael Jackson first and Michael Jackson wasn't having it? Because Michael was too busy playing around with Bubbles, the chimp. He didn't want no woman. But Prince, yeah, that's a shame. Because but you see how that baby turned out. And I do believe Prince was a child of God. And I believe God was saving Prince from that woman. And that's why that child turned out like that. Because you can't fuck with a child of God and expect to come out of that shit clean. And I think Prince realized what was going on once that child came on the scene, and he realized, like, this is some spiritual darkness type shit. And he never fucked with Mayte after they got a divorce. And that's one thing, that's very interesting for a Gemini, because here I am getting deep into Prince now, but that's because I love him so much. But I'll be doing a case study on this. But, Gemini is the type of person where they could break up with you, get divorced, and, y'all could still be cool. Y'all could still be friends and stuff. And Prince did maintain friendships with a lot of the women that he was sexually involved with, except for Mayte. I can't stand her. But anyway, why didn't, as a Gemini, why didn't he maintain ties with Mayte? Because he knew what that shit was. He knew that the devil had sent her. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about for Capricorn season, just how real the devil is. Not in terms of this being that's in the flesh, but this principle, this concept of the devil. And I won't even get deep into it right now, because I got to answer this question, but that shit is real. And Capricorn rules the devil. So if you got strong Capricorn energy in your chart, whether it's a Capricorn sun, you got Capricorn rising, Capricorn moon, Mars in Capricorn, Venus in Capricorn, you are going to come face to face with the devil at various times of your life, and it will come in different ways, shapes, and forms. That's just how it is. Now, I'm not saying the devil is all bad. Sometimes we need a little devil in our life to get certain things in life and stuff. But that whole being tested and people coming into your life that will test you in terms of, like, how people will come into your life, or it'll even be a friend, and they'll say some shit that will put you in a certain place, put you in a dark space. You might have wanted to talk, Mercury and Capricorn too. You might have wanted to, talk about upbeat stuff, but then they come with some negativity, and now that done fucked up the rest of your day. That happened to me recently. And I kind of I realized this person, they weren't doing it purposely, because I'm real cool with this person. I was like, they weren't doing it on purpose, but it's like the devil was working through them. Like, when I tell you this shit was so spiritual, what happened, this was like 2 weeks ago before New Year's Eve. And this had been a kind of like an ongoing thing. So before I dealt with this person for the umpteenth time, I even said, I was like, okay, if the subject matter goes in this direction, I'm going to quickly redirect. And what was so funny was, I didn't even have time to redirect this person. The way they slid it in was so slick. Yes, Jupiter and Capricorn too. The way they slid that shit in was so quick. And I'm talking about the negative energy. And again, I know they're not doing it on purpose, but the devil is working through them. And they slid that shit in so quick that I remember I was like, yo, the devil is no joke. Because I purposely said that I don't even want to deal with that topic of conversation, and that I was going to stop the person short before they got into it. But the way the person did it, the way they slid that topic in, it was so slick that I didn't catch it before it was too late. And I was like, that's how the devil works. Even when you're trying to be on your square, you're trying to remain positive, then here come the negativity. And where somebody's trying to sow seeds of doubt in your head, or making you feel less than, or making you start to question like, damn, I'm not doing enough, and all this type of stuff. Then the other day, I was watching a live stream, right? And it's the YouTuber is a Virgo. And sometimes I can be real bitter as a Capricorn, but anyway, Capricorn, moon and rising. But anyway, the YouTuber was a Virgo. And this YouTuber was getting kind of on their high horse. And I kind of played the role of the devil in this case, even though I wasn't interacting with the YouTuber. I was just thinking this in my mind, where as a Virgo, this person was getting on their high horse and kind of acting like, ha, 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 if I could do it, why can't you type stuff. And I was like, you gonna pay for that. I was like, you're going to pay for that watch. Because I was like, Virgos are supposed to be humble. And I was like, she even mentioned that she was humble while at the same time contradicting that. And I was saying, I was like, watch, you're going to pay for that. You're going to pay for that. And the next day, it was like 2 days later after that live stream, she the person posted something and was like, oh, I made this mistake, or this happened, or this happened. I was like, see? That's what happens when you get on your high horse as a Virgo. But with the Capricorn thing, that shit is real about being tested. And a lot of times we don't realize that it's the devil testing us. Because again, if you're not a religious person, you don't really want to deal with that whole devil talk. But the devil is the best way to describe it. And again, if you're thinking in spiritual terms, it's not a being. It's not one individual that's the devil. It's a concept. It's a principle. It's energy. It's low vibrational energy. And there will be people that come into your light that assume the role of the devil to try to knock you off your square, or try to sow seeds of doubt in your head, or just to put you in a dark space, or, you know, make you focusing on negative shit. Okay, Idris, thank you so much for your Cash App. I'll get to that in a minute. Low Key Kimmy said, can I trust my new friend? All right, thank you for your super chat. Self-Made SM said, what does Sun and Leo try Saturn and Sag is a slow release to my purpose to life, since Saturn is a slow planet. Also, does my ex miss me? Well, goddamn, that's a lot, Self-Made. Hold on, let me make sure. Okay, you're the next one in line. So you said, what does Sun and Leo try Saturn and Sag? That's a really good trine right there. Like, that's where it's like you're using your creativity and channeling it into a business that could become mega successful, and that could grow rapidly. So when you say slow release, I don't see that with that Sun and Leo trine Saturn and Sagittarius. I see that as rapid growth, and where you could rise to stardom or some level of fame. And it could just be within your little niche of influence in a short period of time. And always remember that Saturn brings rewards. And it's about, you know, success and accomplishment. And I always say, I'd rather have a positive Saturn transit than a positive Jupiter transit any day. And that, again, it goes back to the devil theme. The devil rules this world, and the devil does reward you handsomely when you do put in the work, or you got the right connections and all that type of stuff. But the devil can also crush you. And you can allow the devil to rule your life where you're forsaking the spiritual side of life. So again, sometimes we need the devil in our life, but sometimes the devil is just working overtime to try to make you either feel like shit or make you like focus on what you don't have. That's always my problem. I focus too much on what I don't have when I need to really look at my blessings. Like, case in point, I'm always focusing on like how my subscriber count just be stuck at a certain number. And instead of focusing on that, that would be my Saturn and Leo, right? So I got Saturn and Leo ruling my chart, but then I got this Capricorn energy. Now, the Capricorn energy, if I was really resting on that, I would be like, man, I don't need to be in competition with people. Why do I even care about my subscriber count? Because I'm, still running my business. My business is thriving, all that type of stuff. But the Saturn and Leo in my 7th house gets me in my Venus and Libra too. And I have Venus square Saturn. That is where I'll be comparing my channel to others and being like, look, damn, my channel ain't even growing and all this type of stuff and all that. And I know I'm a big part of it because I'm not consistent. But I mean, I do have good content, but I had to tell myself I need to stop thinking from that Venus and Libra and Saturn and Leo perspective, because in my world, it's not a popularity contest. And I've always hated competition, but there's been times where I have become competitive, but it seems like when I become competitive, I tend to lose, like with the whole Method Man situation and RZA. But yeah, I'm done trying to compete. I'm done trying to be popular because I don't think it's just in the cards for me. And, being really popular on YouTube and other social media platforms, it does come at a cost. And I don't think I want to pay that cost. I really don't. And I think that's really why I'm just at where I am, because I know how I am. I can get tired of things real quick. Okay, low-key Kimmy, you said, can I trust my new friend? Any advice on career? Let's see if you can trust your new friend first. Okay, A. McKinney, I got you next. Well, after I do the other one. Oh, limoncello. Oh, I heard you, NYC. You said, dang, can I get those? Look, you don't know. As an astrologer, I'd be looking at some of my clients' charts with envy. I'd be turning green. I'd be like, damn, you don't even know what I would do, where I would be if I had that. Like you have it. Like if I had that trine in my chart, or if I had those sextiles in my chart, there's no telling what I do. But, we all have our own paths. We all have our own lives to live. We all have our own charts. Okay, I feel like you could trust this friend, but don't give her too much of your trust up front, because I got the temperance card. So take it slow when it comes to this friend, especially when it comes to revealing information to this woman, or I don't know if it could be a man, I don't know. But the temperance card is about moderating, being moderate. So, you don't got to pour your heart out to her or him, in the beginning or whatever. And you don't got to like involve them in every aspect of your life just yet. But it does look like you will eventually begin to give them your full trust. Well, I won't say full trust, because I'm starting to think you should never trust anybody fully. But you know what I mean. And then you said, any advice on career? Know what movie I was watching last night? I know I said, what movie was I know I said I was watching Still Magnolias, but I was watching this movie while I was eating my lunch. Hold on, let me answer your question first. I don't know what made me think of this. I was watching that bullshit ass movie Belly. Remember Belly with DMX and Nas? That movie sucked when you really think about it. The lighting was horrible. Nas can't act his way out of a wet paper bag. All right, for career, I'm seeing where you really want to think about how you can really use your artistic gifts and make a career out of it. If you're not already using your artistic gifts or your artistry, or you're able to use your imagination, then you might be in the wrong field, because it looks like you are meant to be some type of an artist. And once you are able to step into your role and your destiny as an artist, it looks like you will be very successful. Looks like you've been, kind of putting that on the back burner for a bit too long. So you again, I'm seeing where you got some artistic talent that you're really not utilizing. And if you did, you would start to really see success. That's what I'm seeing. And that's that Page of Cups followed by the Empress that I got. All right, Idris, you wanted to know what effect do I have upon people? There was another, oh yeah, the devil came at me again today. And this was through somebody close to me, somebody in my family. And it wasn't even in a bad way, but it was in a way where it had me questioning, like, why are you doing this? Like, I don't even need this from you. And you're trying to make it seem like I'm in a situation, I'm at a point in my life where I need this from you, and I don't. So I feel like the devil was showing up through this family member as well. And I was just like, okay, I don't think I responded yet. Because I didn't know how to respond. All right, wait a minute. What was the question? Oh, I keep on distracting myself. Hey, Dre. Thanks for your super chat. I'll get to it in a minute. Oh, what effect do you have upon people? That's what it is. Well, it looks like you have the effect where people want to talk to you. So it's like you have the ability to get people to open up and get people to start being more communicative. And also you are able to help people see things from a different perspective, because I got the Lover's card. So you have that effect upon people, which is pretty cool. Like you have the effect where you can cause people to start to think. You know how some people just go through life and they don't question anything? You have the ability to start, causing people to question things that they've taken for granted. So I hope that helps. You said, hey, Rob, thank you, Tales of Dre. Saturn in Pisces is transiting my 9th and will square my natal Saturn in Gemini. 12 degrees, in the 8 degrees in the 12th house. So it's transiting your 9th and it's going to square your Saturn in the 12th. What do I need to do to prepare for this transit? Number one, I don't know if you're currently attending school, but if you are attending school, that could be where you need to take a leave of absence. It can also produce some challenges with traveling. Maybe you will have to postpone a trip due to unforeseen circumstances, situations beyond your control. That Saturn square Saturn can be quite troublesome if you're not prepared for the change that it's initiating. A lot of times with Saturn square Saturn, you are going to undergo a change in terms of your career path, also a change in terms of your level of responsibility. And then you always got to think about issues with communication, with your Saturn being in Gemini and with Saturn squaring it, Saturn being in Pisces. That's like so many chances for miscommunication, misunderstandings. There might be some issue where somebody's lying to you, but you're afraid to call them out on it because your Saturn's in the 12th house. You could also have some like crazy dreams around this time when Saturn's squaring your Saturn. So, yeah, but you'll get through it, because I always say when you're dealing with those squares like that, like with these outer planets, it can just deal with, this is a time for you to take an assessment, and it can test you too. So you might have to take some tests and assessments on a spiritual level to see what you're doing that's keeping you from accomplishing your goals, keeping you from moving forward, and what you need to let go, what you need to be doing more of. A lot of times that Saturn square Saturn can deal with where you are in for a reality check, and it could be kind of hard, like a harsh reality check. But again, you'll get through it, especially because it's a mutable square. If it was a fixed square, you'd be in trouble. No, let me start. Not necessarily, but with the mutable square, you do usually have more options and more flexibility. Oh, thank you, Queen Dara D. You said I really love being here with you all as an astrologer here. Love sharpening my skills. Well, thank you. And again, I feel like this is my purpose. I'm living according to my purpose. So I love it. Wasn't Belly so low budget? Yes. And every time I see it now, like the older I get, the more I'm like, this movie is ridiculous. Especially Nas' character, but even DMX character. I'm just like, wow. Queen Dardy said Belly was a hood dude's wet dream, right? And remember in the beginning of the movie, he's like, I sold my soul to the devil, and the price was cheap. I was like, I remember seeing that, and then there was an image of a little kid with a pentagram, and like, I was like, what kid be doing some shit like that? And the kid was like 9 years old. NYC says, seriously, Rod, I am in awe on how knowledgeable you are on this astrology shit. I could listen to you for hours and hours. That's how you know, like, I'm living my purpose, because I eat, drink, sleep, and shit astrology. Like, I can't do anything without having some astrological reference to it. This is my life. I love it. I never take a day off from astrology. Like, that's how I knew, like, this is my purpose. When I knew, like, there, you know, I'll have some students sometimes where they'll be like, I need to take some time off from my studies. And the way I am, I'm like, no, you don't get no time off. I'm like, if you want to do this, you got to give it 110% or more. But, you know, some people, they just don't have the capacity mentally to be able to absorb a bunch of information at once. And it didn't, you know, wasn't overnight for me either. It took me years of studying for me to get at the level I am. And I feel like I still got some stuff to learn. I'll never feel like I know everything I need to know about astrology, tarot, all that type of stuff. So I'm still learning myself, and I'm still having these periods of awakenings and insight, like how I had that insight about Method Man's chart and how his South Node is right on my 8th house cusp, because that's something I hadn't considered before. Because I really never looked at his chart like that. So to see that shit, and for y'all to get my reaction in real time, because when I say I had just realized that during my live stream, how his South Node is smack dab on my 8th house cusp, I was like, yo, it makes so much sense. His Saturn conjoined to my South Node, that karmic shit. I was like, it makes so much sense. So yeah, I'm still like amazed at some of the findings I have, even about my own chart and my own life and the relationships I've had. Thank you, Reflection and Progression. You said dating. Should I pick Robert, Lance, or date? Well, wow, she got 3 dating prospects. You are rich, honey. Lance, Robert, or Dane? Okay. Lance seems probably, we're just going to talk about the names real quick. Robert, you know, Robert seems a little straight up and down, but Robert got a temper. That's what I'm getting. Lance is cool. He's probably laid back, but I don't trust him. I don't trust no dude named Lance. Y'all seen that Players Club? Wasn't that the name of Diamond's boyfriend, Lance? And her son was like, bye, Lance. And Lance was messing with Ebony, Diamond's cousin. So I don't trust no dude named Lance. I just don't. And again, and then you said the other one is Dame. I don't trust no dude with a name that begins with the letter D. There'll be a few exceptions, but that D is problematic. It's the 4th letter of the alphabet, and 4 can be problematic. Yeah, you can't trust Lance. So you said I meant Dame. Yeah, that's what I think I wrote, Dame. Dame short for Damon. If his name is Damon, I'm really not feeling this dude, but I'll let the cards speak for these dudes. So you said, and of course, I'm just teasing. So you said, should I pick Robert, Lance, or Dane? It must be nice to have a choice like that. This is like the dating game. Remember that show? Robert, Lance. We're going to pull a card for each one. Robert, Lance, or Dane. I feel like you could do better than all of them combined, but I'll see what the cards say. Okay, Queen Dardy picks Robert. Okay, Siobhan, post your question. I'll get to it. So who we were looking at for Robert, I got the 6 of Swords. So it looks like Robert is going through a period of transition. So he may not be exactly stable, and he may be like getting with you on the rebound. You can let me know if that's what he's told you. Or, most people don't admit that you're on the rebound with them. You said there are others I haven't even given a chance to. So Robert, I don't like that 6 of Swords, because that makes me think that he is not stable. And it makes me think that he's not going to stay in your life long. So I say no to Robert. Uh-oh. Lance gets the 10 of Cups. So Lance, I did say Lance is all laid back and stuff. So you might connect really well with Lance. But see, Lance might be connecting well with any old woman. That's the problem with those men that you hit it off with and y'all have this great conversation. He just got this gift of the gab and, oh my God, he's saying all the right things. You always have to just expect that man to have that talk game with a bunch of women. A lot of these men that are really good with having these conversations, you ain't the only woman he's talking to. But I'll just say 10 of Cups is a good sign. And then Dame, I got the Sun card. He looked like the best one out the 3. So I would go with Dame with the Sun card, but Dame, he might have a problem with his ego. None of your business said Robert is a tragic name. Oh, that makes sense with Lance, with the 10 of Cups and the Lance with the Mars. Okay, so that makes sense. Makes sense. So I say Lance would be good for you, but so would Dame. I'm not feeling Robert at all. Robert can kick rocks. I don't like Robert. And you could tell him I told you that. I think Robert's living foul, but that's all good. I mean, you can let me know if you see otherwise, but I'm not feeling Robert at all. Again, Lance seems like he's cool, but you just got to work. And especially if Lance got Mars in Cancer, it makes sense what I said. That means he could be getting friendly with not just you, but other women as well. A lot of Mars and Cancer men, they're either womanizers or woman beaters. Take your pick. Man, we need to pull up some pictures of celebrities so I can roast them real quick. Who do we need to talk about? Who's been in the news? Dame Dash. And then let me see who else got a question. Derek, you got a question. Chelsea. Hey, Chelsea. And I think there's someone, let me see. Laboo. Let's do Laboo. All right, I answered Tales of Dre. Laboo, what's up? You said, I'm talking to this Nigerian man I met on Bumble. Should we just be friends? I think I downloaded the Bumble app one time. Or maybe that was another app and I'm getting confusing. I'm talking, I only last like a few days on the dating apps and then like I'll uninstall them from my phone. I'll be like, man, I can't do this. I'm talking to this Nigerian man I met on Bumble. Should we just be friends or should I pursue something more? Okay. Should we just be friends or should you pursue something more? Just be friends. Because I got the 2 of Pentacles, which means that this could be a bunch of ups and downs with this situation. 1 minute, he's, giving you a lot of attention and, he's making you feel all good and stuff. And next minute, it's like you don't even hear from him for a few days. So until he's able to work that out, I would say just be friends for now, because things seem to be very up in the air. And I really don't see any cards dealing with love, actually, because 9 of Pentacles is in the challenge position, which can mean either one or the both of you really want to hold on to your singlehood. And then it ends with the Page of Pentacles, which is more friends than lovers. So yeah, friends. How many others have us? I mean, how many others have them? I feel like he's one of those friends you might not even be able to depend on a lot. Like in Houdini said, ones we can depend on. I don't even see him being that type of friend all the time. Let's be friends. You're welcome, low-key Kimmy. How many of us have them? Friends. Before we go any further, let's be friends. All right, Chelsea, you said, what is the universe trying to tell me about my mom being in so many of my dreams recently? I can't seem to pick up what they're trying to put down. Okay, Mom, why are you in your daughter's dreams? Now there you go again. You say you want your freedom. Well, who am I to keep you down? All right, let's see. So you said, what is the universe trying to tell me about my mom recently? I can't seem to pick up what they're trying to put down. Well, I got the Magician card. Maybe your mom is about to make some big move and you just don't know about it, because the Magician can deal with sleight of hand, where something is in the work. She has something in the work, but she ain't really letting you know. And it could be a good thing, because the Magician is not really a negative card. Yes, Fleetwood Mac. I love that song. Dreams. But yeah, don't be surprised if she got something in the works. It could involve you, but it might just involve her alone. And it's something she really doesn't want to share with anybody yet, but it will be revealed to you at some point. But I don't see it being anything negative. Players only love you when they're playing. She said, women, they will come and they will go. When the rain washes you clean, you'll know. All right, who else we got? All right, Derek, thank you for your super chat. You said I have Virgo intercepted in the 4th house, Pisces intercepted in the 10th. How significant is this? Jupiter in the 4th, Moon and Uranus in the 10th, conjunct midheaven. So with that, that's kind of like powerful energy in both of those houses. Now, I don't know if they're directly opposing each other, but usually with oppositions, or even when you're just dealing with this oppositional energy, it can mean that there'll be times where you're more on the 10th house side, other times where you have to direct more focus to the 4th house. Now, when you have Virgo intercepting the 4th house, the first thing I think about is order in the home. Is your house in order? And that could be in the physical sense, but it could be in the spiritual sense, could be like in the emotional sense. Also, is your house clean? Is someone living with you that's not pulling their weight in terms of chores? Because Virgo rules chores. Is there, like, are you living somewhere where your home is in need of repair? Because when you have Virgo intercepting the 4th like that, your home could be in need of extensive repair at some point. Also, there could be an issue with a pet inside of your home. Might have a little dog that's pissing and shitting all over the house. I don't want to get in your business, but that's how that Virgo intercepted in the 4th house could be. Hygiene, cleanliness, major theme with Virgo in the 4th house, also home repairs. And then, most importantly, where you might need help with housing at some point. See, that's the danger of having Virgo intercepted in the 4th house. It's like having a Virgo moon, and Virgo moons and 4th house Virgo, there's always a chance that you could be homeless at some point and have to rely upon somebody for help with housing. So that's something I always keep in mind. Another thing with Virgo in the 4th, you could work from home at some point, or you could work in the restaurant industry. You could work in the hotel industry. You could work in a nursing home or something like that. So that's some of the ways that that can play out. When you got Pisces intercepted in the 10th house, that's good for working in the medical field. But that can also mean at some point you might be out of work for a long time, and it could be because you're sick. Oh, shit. You did have an issue with the, where you at? You did have an issue with being sick recently, didn't you? And you had to take some time off. So there you go right there. Also, with Pisces intercepted in the 10th house, there is a chance that you could be falsely accused by someone, and it could be at work at some point. So you always got to be careful about that. And there could be times where your boss is screwing up, or you have an incompetent manager or supervisor, or they're doing some shady shit or whatever. They might even try to do something to humiliate you or whatever. So that can come with that as well. And then when you got Jupiter in the 4th, you could end up traveling to a lot of different countries. You could end up even changing your citizenship at some point. Moon and Uranus in the 10th. That Moon and Uranus can combine, can deal with a change in home. And that 10th house can deal with where you got to deal with the government if you're changing citizenship or whatever like that. But Moon and Uranus in the 10th house too can mean that the bulk of your work is taking place online with that Uranus influence. But I hope that helps. And that's just the brief part. These aspects, you could write pages upon pages and pages about just one aspect alone. So that's one of the challenges I experience when I'm doing natal charts, especially the written ones for people, because especially if I'm writing them by hand, because a lot of times I like to write them by hand with a pen and paper, and then I'll dictate it on a Microsoft Word document with my voiceover. And then I have to correct all the typos and stuff that the voiceover dictate thing creates. But there's times when I have to force myself to stop writing about a certain aspect because you could just write so much about it. And it could just go on and on and on, because at the end of the day, the natal chart is possibilities, it's potential. And it's showing you, okay, we're giving you this cup, and in this cup is potential. And, you know, some of what's in the cup we choose for you, but then there's other things in the cup that you're going to choose, but it's all in the same cup. So that cup is showing that you do have some limitations in life. But if you know how to work the energy in that cup, then you can be successful no matter if there's nasty stuff in the cup along with the good stuff. Derek said, thank you. Yes, I was feeling sick. I'm feeling better now. Oh, I'm so glad you're feeling better. I was a little worried about you. I was. But know that sickness could be a major theme throughout your life with Pisces intercepted in the 10th. And then, of course, that comes, you know, your mother and father come into play with the 4th and the 10th house as well. So with your mom, 10th house, think about how Pisces relates to her, and also how that Moon and Uranus relates to her. Like when you got the Moon in the 10th, that could be your mother's mother. So that could be your grandmother. See, I told you about the pets in the home. You said my cat is naughty and sometimes always breaks at home. My little grandkitty, she's a little naughty too. What was she doing the other day? And I had to kick her out of my room. And she'll like run into my room. And because she got Mars in Cancer, I be struggling with that Mars in Cancer cat, because she's the type, she don't care if you got to work on a natal chart, you typing and stuff. She'll just get right in my face and she'll be like, you're going to love on me right now. I don't care if you got this deadline to meet. And she'll be forcing me to pet her. She'll get all up in my face. And I'll be like, yo, like, you're going to have to chill that shit out. Because my Capricorn energy, when I'm in work mode, I'm in work mode. But she just wants to come between me and my work and be all up in my face. And I'm like, and because she got Mars in Cancer, guess what she likes to do? And I've had to really try to get her out of it. So she's a Taurus kitty with a Moon in Libra. She got Mars in Cancer, and we think she's a Virgo rising, which makes sense because she be going to town in that litter box. Like she be claiming she's cleaning the litter box, like putting litter over top of the pootie. But then this shit don't even end up on the poop. And she's just scratching the side of the litter box, and she'll stay in there and keep doing it. And I'm like, yeah. But so she got Mars in Cancer. So what she likes to do is, you know how Cancer rules the chest? When she was a kitten, and a lot of kittens like to just crawl on you and stuff. When she was a kitten, one of the things she would love to do is walk on top of my chest. Even like if I'm sitting up, she'll walk on top of my chest. And like, because you know, you got a little platform there. So now that she's a grown cat, she still tries to walk on top of my chest, and that shit hurts. So whenever she tries to come close to me, she'll put her paws on my chest. Because again, the chest theme is strong with her Mars and Cancer. She'll put her paws on my chest, and then I know what's coming. She's going to try to climb up on my chest and use me as a bridge to get to the other side. And I'm like, no, you don't. Stop. So that part does get on my nerves because, yeah, and you wouldn't believe how heavy cats feel when they put that one paw down and all their weight be on that one paw. That shit hurts. So, yeah. I still love her though. She's a sweetie. She's a little sweetie pie, but sometimes she could be a bit much. And then she was crying her head off because my daughter was at work and I was in my bedroom with the door shut. Yeah, I was still in bed asleep. And here she go crying outside my door. And she be adjusting her cries too. Like she adjusts her meow. Hey, C. Thomas. So when she wants to come in your room, she be like, wow. Like she wants you, she makes it sound like she's crying. And she wants you to have that sympathy. And it don't work on me. But yeah, even that purring can get on my nerves after a while because her purring is loud as shit. Oh yeah, Siobhan, thanks for reminding me. You said, will I be able to get out and have some fun this year? I need to get off the assembly line. Hell yeah, Cappy. You know, you got to force yourself to have fun as a Capricorn. So will you have fun this year? I got to get ready and go because I got a class in a little bit more than an hour. I got the Queen of Swords because I did a 4-card reading for you because I wanted to see I wanted to see what the issue was. So I got the Queen of Swords, which can show that you are, ready to start being more social, to start really, going out. But the challenge is the 3 of Cups. So there could be an issue with the locations or the location that you're at. It could be an issue with the venues not really being your cup of tea, with the 3 of Cups being in the challenge position. And then I got the 4 of Pentacles, which is your advice, which tells me you're still going to be pretty much sticking to your lonesome for the most part, unless you really have a good reason to start going out and having some fun. But that 4 of Pentacles can also mean that you're going to make that a priority because that's a Capricorn card. So it can mean that you need to make fun a priority. And then it ends with the Temperance card, which lets me know that you will be going somewhere and having some fun. And it could be an overnight trip because the Temperance card can often deal with staying in a hotel. But yeah, you're going to have to, first of all, you're going to have to find the fun and the good times because it's not like, I don't see it being just within your reach right now. And it could be because of the area you're living in. Again, the scene in your area may not be up to par. It may not be up to your standards. So you might have to plan a trip to go somewhere. And again, it needs to be purposeful. So for instance, one of the best ways to really start having fun, see what concerts are coming up. If one of your favorite artists is going to be touring in a nearby city, buy some tickets and make it a night. You and a friend or, you and a lucky guy or whatever like that. But yeah, you got to basically make it a priority or else it's not going to happen this year. So you get it, Sean? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And let me see, I think that might be it. Unless somebody. Oh, Patricia, thank you for your super chat. You said, why is my dark-sided moon mom so mean and hateful towards her daughters? Well, she's a Capricorn moon. Even though I'm a Capricorn moon, I'm not hateful toward my daughters and stuff. But, some Cap moons just don't have that nurturing instinct. And some use that Capricorn energy to be mean. And sometimes they don't understand, especially if we're talking about the moon. The moon is representing who you are naturally, like at your core personality level. It's hard to overcome the tendencies and behavioral patterns. You're welcome, Siobhan. The tendencies and behavioral patterns that come with your moon sign. And I do plan on doing a moon sign series soon. I just got to find a way to do it. Like, cause you know me, I like to do it in a certain way, a format to make it fun or whatever. So stay tuned for a moon sign series. I got to do some more generic stuff just to get my subscriber count up, obviously. But anyway, I figure a moon sign series will get me some more subs and shit and some more views. But yeah, it's very hard to overcome the moon. You can overcome the tendencies of your sun a lot of times quicker than you can your moon, because your moon is what you're doing naturally without even thinking about it. Same with the sun to a certain extent, but the moon is even more so because the moon is really dealing with you behaviorally. So there's really nothing you could really do, especially this late in the game. Like, just accept it for what it is. Talk shit about your mom if it makes you feel better, but don't let it put you in that space where you're allowing her to bring you down, basically. But sometimes it helps to just talk shit about people, and we call it venting, right? So vent every now and then to your sister or to somebody who knows her and knows that dark side. And sometimes that makes you feel better, because one of the worst things is when you're suffering through something and you're suffering alone. Oh, my phone just turned off. When you're suffering alone through something. So to be able to have that connection to somebody where it's like, damn, you realize how much of a bitch she is, like I do, that helps you feel like that connection. It helps you feel more connected. So vent every now and then. Nope, I haven't done a Midheaven series yet. I haven't done a lot of those, like just regular like series like that, because I'm just not the type of woman that wants to be generic. But I also understand that a lot of people do want some of the more basic level astrology instead of a bunch of case studies and stuff all the time. Like, I have to admit, like, a lot of my videos, you already kind of have to have knowledge of astrology to get where I'm coming from. And the good thing is, a lot of my subscribers and viewers, a lot of y'all already are like really good with astrology, or y'all have at least a good grasp of astrology. So when I talk about these case studies and stuff, it's not like I have to like explain it to a 3-year-old. Y'all already are on it. And that makes a lot of sense too, why my subscriber count is the way it is too, among other factors, is because I am bringing it from a level where, you do kind of have to have some knowledge of astrology to get what I'm saying. Even though I do explain things very, succinctly, and I'd be like, well, this rules this and stuff, I do go kind of fast. So if you're a newbie, if you're just starting out as a beginner, I could see where my channel could be maybe not your cup of tea. And that's why I think I will start doing more basic astrological videos. Now, I did do a Venus through the sign series. And I got my dark sided series, but I think I'll do one about the moon. And I'll talk about the dark and the light side of the moon at the same time. And I did some Mars too. I have a lot of live streams where I talked about Mars through the signs, but I know I didn't touch on Mars and Scorpio. And somebody did approach me where they wanted to sponsor a Mars and Scorpio video. They got to get back in touch with me about that. But yeah, I understand that I have to meet people where they're at more and give people what they need. Nurse Tara said, that's true, but if you want to get your subs up, you may have to be generic. Yeah, I realize that at this point, and not curse so much and not be so foul-mouthed and vulgar and shit. I'm gonna have to kind of tone it down and be very like, you know how that woman's voice is on TikTok? The moon in Gemini. It's like, I'll never come across like that. Gemini moons. How you can tell someone has a Leo moon. I can't do stuff like that. I'm just like, nah, but I will do something. I will do something more on the generic end. But of course, I'm gonna have to, make it funny in some ways. I really wish I could find somebody to do an animated series. I mean, like where they could do the animation for me. So if you know anybody, or if anybody in this room is good with animation, please let me know, because I will pay you to put together an animated series for me. I guess I'll give you all the information, the words and stuff, and you would have to just create the animated videos. Let me know if you can do something like that. Let me know in the chat, because I do want to expand at this point, and I don't like doing the same thing over and over again. Benita said, damn, I'm a Sagittarius moon. We love the cuss. I know, it's so hard for us to like have clean mouths. That's so true. Siobhan said, most of these people really be wanting to hear only the good things about their signs, right? I feel like the good stuff is kind of boring, because guess what? You're expected to be good. So that's not, I mean, you want a cookie because you're good, because you obey, some laws and shit. That's what you're expected to do. That's why people are into true crime and stuff, because honestly, a lot of the good stuff in life can get a lot boring. I mean, it's not as exciting as the bad stuff. Like, would you rather learn about Martin Luther King or Ted Bundy? Take your pick. To me, Ted Bundy, as evil as he was, is much more a fascinating read than Martin Luther King, unless we want to get into Martin Luther King's scandalous affairs he had with all these different women cheating all over Coretta. So even with somebody like Martin Luther King, it gets interesting once we talk about his dark side, right? It ain't really interesting when we talk about the We Shall Overcome and the march from Selma to Mobile, Alabama, or whatever like that. All that stuff really ain't interesting. But what is interesting, oh yeah, Martin Luther King used to have a thing for white women, and he cheated on Coretta Scott a number of times with them. That's the shit that's interesting. That's the stuff I want to look at in the chart. Because it's easy to see a person's accomplishments and what makes them a good person and stuff. I like the dark side, the ugly side, right, with his Capricorn. So maybe that's why I'm bringing him up. Maybe that's why he's come to mind. And we do got Martin Luther King Day this month. And why do we have Martin Luther King Day? Like, honestly, let's be real. I don't think he accomplished that much. Especially when you really understand how history was. I feel like Malcolm X accomplished much more than Martin Luther King. But of course, Martin Luther King, he was more so of the safe choice. You said, and February right around the corner, right? I'm not ready for this Black History Month. I don't feel like going through it again. And like, who really celebrates Black history? That shit is shoved down our throats. and to me, it just serves as a reminder that you're not fully American. You're not fully American because you got a whole month designated for Black history. We don't consider that part of American history. Isn't that strange? Why do we have to have Black History Month when it should just be American history? Like, why aren't Blacks included in American history? Why do we have to have our own separate Black history? I get it with the whole slavery thing, and that needs to be told, but that's part of American history. That's not just Black history, that's American history. Patricia said, I'm going to vent in my journal. Thank you. Yes, vent and cuss that bitch out in your journal. And if you want me to vent with you, because I know we'll be doing a phone reading soon, I love it. I love to talk trash about people. Queen Dardy said, February is my birthday month. Black history is U.S. Exactly. Yeah, I hated that whole singling out and stuff. And again, they're going to give Black people the shortest month of the year for the Black history. And I can't believe Black people went for that shit. That should have automatically been like, hold up. If you're going to give us a whole month for Black history, at least give us 30 days, not 28. They could have gave us January right alongside Martin Luther King's birthday, but they was like, we're going to send a message and let them know they're still less than, because we're going to give them the shortest month out the year. Black people should have never agreed to that shit. But it was our own Black leaders that sold us the fuck out. Don't even get me started on some of these Black activists. A lot of them were just tools by the CIA and just government pawns. Like the guy, you know what? I got to do a reading on that dude. Kwanzaa. Isn't Kwanzaa still going on, or did Kwanzaa end? Did you know that the founder of Kwanzaa was a rapist and an abuser of women? Did y'all know that? And they want us to celebrate Kwanzaa and shit. And why see Black Honey say, cut us a check, right? Ava said conservative states have to be reminded to teach Black history. And they'd be like, well, I'm glad it's only 28 days. Oh yeah, mind you, February is surrounded by Valentine's Day. Not just Valentine's Day, what about President's Day and Abraham Lincoln's birthday? So yeah, they gave us the shaft with this Black History Month. Yeah, the founder, the creator of Kwanzaa, I forget this guy's name. What is this guy's name? The creator of Kwanzaa was a rapist, and he didn't just abuse women, he tortured women. Okay, so Kwanzaa was December 26th to January 1st. Yeah, look him up. Wait a minute, let me tell you what this guy's name is. He's a professor too. So he got away with it. He did some time in jail. Karanga, that's his name. His name is Malana Karanga. And he's currently a professor. He's an American activist, author, and professor of Africana Studies, best known as the creator of the Pan-African and African-American holiday of Kwanzaa. Let's see if Wikipedia talks about, let's pull this dude's, first of all, I got a little bit of time. Let me pull up an image of him. And you could tell something's wrong with this man. Of course, that's a small picture. Why are these pictures so small, this man? Hold on. I'll just share my screen. That's Karenga. That's the guy that created Kwanzaa. To me, he looks shady as hell. This dude's shady too. What's his name? Cornel West. I never liked Cornel West either. I remember I was roasting him during a live stream. But yeah, this Karenga dude, he looked like he would beat a bitch down. That's all I'm saying. All right. Let's see if Wikipedia talks about him torturing women. Let me see. Criminal conviction and imprisonment. In 1971, Karenga was sentenced to 1 to 10 years in prison on counts of felony assault and false imprisonment. One of the victims gave testimony of how Karenga and other men tortured her and another woman. The woman described having been stripped naked and beaten with an electrical cord. Karenga's estranged wife, Brenda Lorraine Karenga, testified that she sat on the other woman's stomach while another man forced water into her mouth through a hose. On May 14, 1971, an article in the Los Angeles Times described the testimony of one of the women. Deborah Jones, who was once given the Swahili title of an African queen, said she and Gail Davis were whipped with an electrical cord and beaten with a karate baton after being ordered to remove their clothes. She testified that a hot soldering iron was placed in Miss Davis' mouth and placed against Miss Davis' face, and that one of her own big toes was tightened in a vice. Karenga, head of US, I guess, also put detergent and running hoses in their mouth, she said. They also were hit on the heads with toasters. See, this is why we gotta be careful of some of these, just following behind some of these so-called leaders. And it really helps that we do the knowledge of who these people really are, like their background and all that. But yeah, that's your boy Karenga, the father of Kwanzaa. Alice said, I'll continue celebrating Christmas, right? Moonlight Orange said George Washington had wooden teeth. I always forget what sign George Washington was a Pisces, wasn't he? These colleges and universities, they are crooked as hell. So I'm not surprised that he's a professor. Oh yeah, I remember young Pharaoh Tara. He got silent. I wonder what happened to him. And then, like I was saying during my New Year's Eve party, we lost a YouTuber recently. I don't know if anybody used to follow Sinful P, but he was like a pimp that would quote Bible verses, but he's dead. I don't know how he died, but he was part of the manosphere, I think, and the manosphere was taking major L's in 2022. I think they're going to continue to take L's in 2023. But yeah, let me get out of here because I gotta send my student the invite for class. My other student had got the times mixed up. I was like, ooh, okay, that works for me. So Idris, thank you for your super chat. Let me see if there's been any more. I didn't expect to be on doing this live for so long. Okay, so you wanted to know, and Idris, if I think that's the Idris that I know, I still gotta send you the other part with the stars and the asteroids. So thanks for your patience. You said, what can I do to be more of a good person? All right, let's see. I got the Three of Cups. That Three of Cups is about fellowship. It's about sisterhood, brotherhood. It's about, sharing what you have. So that can help you to become a good person, more of a good person, have that sense of community, look out for your brother or your sister or your friend, like be that type of person that, is going to brighten someone's day when they're feeling down. Also be that type of person that shows up when nobody else does. Sometimes all it takes is that one person to show up for somebody. You ever know how it feels to invite somebody to something and then hardly nobody shows up, but the ones that did show up for you, that means so much. That Three of Cups is telling me that about what you need to do, Idris. You need to be the one to show up for people when no one else is showing up for them, if you get what I'm saying, because that means a lot. This brings me back to my childhood. And again, it's kind of bittersweet, sad. But actually, the whole part was sad. I remember my mom hosted a birthday party for me. And I passed out all the invitations. I must have been like in the second grade. And I passed out all the invitations because this was the one year my mom was going to allow me to have a birthday party at the house with a bunch of friends and stuff. And I remember, I think I passed out an invitation to all the kids in the class. And this was when I was going to a predominantly white school. So I think it was a little racial thing going on. And only 3 kids showed up. And that shit hurt. But the 3 kids that did show up, I was so grateful. It meant so much. And that's how I feel about y'all. I may not have this big party of subscribers and stuff, but when y'all show up for me, y'all don't know, that be making me feel special. Like, it makes me feel really good, especially, when y'all showed up for the New Year's Eve party, or just when y'all show up to a live stream and y'all are like, happy to hear what I have to say and y'all are looking forward to it. It means so much, especially coming from a little girl that had that sad ass birthday party where only 3 kids showed up when she invited like 20. So as you can see, I've been dealing with this shit all my life. But yeah, that it can be like that when you got dominant Capricorn energy. Sometimes people don't show up for you like you show up for them. And I never wanted to be that type of person. Like, so I've always been that type where if I can, be the only one that's, riding for someone or showing up for them, I feel like that's what I need to do to make their life better. Because again, that means so much. Or I have a real soft spot for kids that get bullied. And it takes that one nice kid, usually a Sagittarius kid. No, let me say, it takes that one nice kid to sit down at the lunch table with that kid that gets bullied, or to stick up for that kid, or to, befriend that kid. That means so much. Do you know that can change the trajectory of a person's life, a moment like that? Or like when a kid is getting bullied, but it's that one teacher that looks out for that kid and might, or let's say a kid is poor and it's the one teacher that, brings the kid some socks and underwear and none of the other kids know, but that teacher looks out for that kid. Little stuff like that will change the course of somebody's life. And people will always remember that shit. Like, yeah, I had a fucked up childhood, but if it wasn't for Mrs. Nelson, I probably would have killed myself. Like, so never downplay the little acts of kindness that you do. Never downplay it, because you never know. You could be saving somebody's life. Even something as small as you're passing somebody by on the street and you smile at them and say hello. That might even be enough to keep somebody from going over the edge and jumping off of a bridge to their death. Because sometimes all we want is to be acknowledged. You know what I mean? That we exist and that we have some type of significance. And I think that's the underlying issue that I had, and why I was, one of the reasons why I was promiscuous. Like, of course, I thought it was fun. I wanted to have a good time and all that. But then there was another side of me. I wanted to feel like I was somebody. I wanted to be liked. I wanted to be adored and all that stuff. And with that, sometimes you attract the wrong type of people. But again, don't ever discount or downplay the small deeds that you do, because it could mean big to people that are on the receiving end of those deeds. And we all are, I think we're all put here to brighten someone's day at some point or another. I think we all have that responsibility, even evil people. I believe that even evil people, there'll be times where they do something good. Queen Daughter D said, I had a lot of jealousy due to my sun and moon in the 5th house. Makes sense, because you were shining bright. Shine bright like a diamond. Yeah. But yeah, it's those little times where, I saw the people that really cared and really showed up for me. And that means so much. It really does. It really does. But I think I'm going to end right here. I think I covered everybody that had a question. Queen Daughter D, you said, look up the vultures from the Jungle Book. We got you like they had Mowgli. Oh, I got to check that out. I never got into the Jungle Book. Maybe I should read it just because you put it out there. But yeah, it's not easy being an outcast. And I wasn't an outcast like that, but I do have Sun conjunct Neptune. So I do understand how it feels to feel like you're not part of the mainstream and you're not part of the popular kids. One of my favorite songs is I wish that I could be like the cool kids, because all the cool kids, they seem to fit in. Because I feel that shit strong. But that's my Saturn and Leo. Saturn and Leo, that's me wanting to be like the cool kids, wanting to have all these subscribers on YouTube. But then when I come back to my senses and realize you don't need to compete, you don't need to be like the cool kids, because you're already on top in your own special way. And that's something that you guys can, take with you too. You don't always have to be in competition with others. You got to get in where you fit in. And once you get in where you fit in, that's when you rise to the top. And that way you won't have to worry about the competition anymore. But yeah, that song touches me, like that cool kid song. I get it. But the cool kids ain't always all that cool. So yeah, but I love y'all. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hearing me out. Thanks for not judging me too harshly about my story. But I'm glad I basically got it off my chest and it's out there now. So I don't have to, feel like, oh, that's so shameful what I did. Because again, as a Sagittarius, I'm like, life is all about adventure and learning experiences. And I had both in those stories. So yeah, I will see y'all soon. Siobhan said, let these people follow the astrologers who say the outer planets don't matter. I'm done. See, I don't even know how deep the rabbit hole goes with the misinformation with astrology. I don't even want to know. But if that's what they're talking about, God damn, that's terrible. But anyway, I will see y'all later. Peace, many blessings. I'll be back soon.